Well, all right, all right, all right, all right. Got all kinds of stuff to talk about tonight and do. It's gonna be a good night. Mm. Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking that this right here, what I'm wearing right now, if I could wear it every day, all day, I'd be in heaven. This is the most comfortable sweatshirt I've ever owned and the most comfortable pair of jogger slash yoga pants that I've ever owned. And the temperature that it is in Florida right now is the perfect weather. Like, I love it. Yeah, it's a little bit dreary and rainy, but it's fucking 60 degrees or something. 64. It's perfect. When I don't have to run my AC in my house and I don't have to run the heater, all I got to do is put on a nice sweatshirt, nice comfy sweatshirt and some sweatpants. It's a thing of beauty. So I saw that there's a new update for Wavelink. I installed it. And I also saw that there's some new mic preset functionalities, or yeah, I guess they're called, well, not presets, they're plugins. They finally released their plugins, their default plugins for Mac. So I go and install them, or try to. This shit doesn't install. It doesn't fucking, it sends you, it forces you to create an account. I create one. For some reason, the marketplace doesn't connect to the actual software. It's not embedded in the software. It takes you to Safari. So you gotta log in there, and then there's a button to link to open it in Wavelink. It doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. Fail. Epic fail. I was kind of excited to try a different mic preset, the one from E plus Vox, but I fail. You know, maybe if you restart the whole computer, then it works. I don't know. But it's big sadness. But on to bigger and better things. There's a developer stream, Dev Insights Season of the Construct, that we are going to we're going to swap over to and watch. And after that, we're going to play some more Sorceress and listen to some new jams. I have to name all of the tracks on my new Balls McBeats album. And in order to do that, I need to listen to them more. So we're going to listen to some unreleased but final cuts of Balls McBeats' Yozakura, third album, to be released very, very, very soon. But before that, you know what? Let's just do it. I want to be able to pause the music from my Stream Deck. That's what I want to be able to do. Why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? I can, actually. Right there. I have a button for that. You fucking moron. All right. Let's watch this. I did get a chance to watch some of it at work, but not as much as I would have hoped. What's our sound like? Okay, that's good for me. Hopefully that's good for you.
Welcome, Wanderer. I sense that recent events have brought you to me. These are strange times indeed.
What is this dude's name? He's like a super old fucking badass sorcerer.
I deal in it. And you seek answers.
I do. I want a badass construct, man.
Will lead you to the knowledge you desire.
How many days we got? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 4.5-ish days.
The missing piece of an arcane construct.
And I gotta take Tuesday off to take my kid
Weapon capable of harnessing ancient
to a doctor's appointment. But as soon as I get back,
control it. But
Know what I'll be doing.
warned, for the construct is buried deep beneath Kyrgyzstan, in the ancient vaults of Zoltan Kur. Untouched for centuries, they are protected by deadly traps of Kur's own
Just lost it. Oh
design,
my god, they just lost it. Oh my
and
god.
guarded by his mechanical horrors. But the architect Zoltan Kur overestimated his cleverness. In his hubris, the mage abandoned his work, leaving darker forces free to corrupt his machinations and claim the vault's power for themselves. The answers await you in the depths. Take the rune, if you dare.
Oh, I'm gonna take the rune. And I am set, not pretty set. I am set. I'm gonna play Barbarian first. I am gonna play Barbarian first. I don't care what the changes are.
Season of the Construct has so much going on.
New quest lines, new legendary items, new unique items, new mechanics, challenges,
This is
and
what we
more.
saw yesterday. Should we fast
In
forward
the
through
season
this?
of the Construct, you learn of a wondrous place beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan, filled with untold treasure.
Yeah, let's just get into it.
Hello, Diablo community.
Hello.
Welcome to another Diablo 4 developer update live stream.
Hello.
My name is Adam Fletcher. I am the community lead for
I am
the Diablo
all over
franchise,
Adam
and of course,
Fletcher,
I'm joined
literally.
by some special guests here today. I'm joined by
Good thing
Dan.
he's cute,
Do
huh?
you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure thing. I'm Dan Tangway. I am the lead
Tangway.
designer for Season 3, Season of the Construct.
Nice.
And I'm Madeline.
So this whole season is either
And what you guys
brilliance
probably
from
don't realize
Daniel
is-
or
maybe you do. If you watch these
he's gonna
streams,
get all kinds of hate.
often you'll most definitely realize we're
Not
in a
for me,
completely
'cause I,
different
like,
set
as long
today.
as the game
We're actually
plays,
live from Albany, New York, at Blizzard
I will be
Albany,
happy.
and we're doing the stream up here. And so now we have two different sets. We have one in Irvine and one in Albany, and we actually have another guest that will be joining us today. And it's a very familiar face to all our live streams. That's Mr. Adam Jackson. He is live from the
Adam Z.
Irvine studio.
Jackson.
Hi, Adam. Good to see you. And we'll be talking to you soon.
I
'cause
think
we're
it's
gonna be talking
Zachary.
about, balance and classes and everything. So
Adam
we'll be
Zachary
joining,
Jackson, guaranteed.
Adam here shortly. But
Final
we
answer.
have a lot to talk about. A lot with Season 3. We announced it earlier this week with Season of the Construct. We've seen a lot of cool feedback and great feedback from players related to the trailer and everything that released out earlier this week. But we did want to talk a little bit, before we jump into Season 3 and those items, we do want to talk a little bit about, the new year and obviously going through the holiday and Season 2, where we had Season of Blood.
Season
where
2
players got
recap,
to jump
ooh.
in, of course, fight Lord Zir, jump into different blood harvests and everything. And what was awesome to see with Season of Blood was, or Season of Blood, is that we ended up getting really great feedback from players about how they enjoyed, some of the aspects with it. And, just hearing that feedback has helped us a whole lot in terms of how we're going to build out Diablo 4, especially in future seasons. And one big thing that, we introduced was the boss ladder. With, of course,
Boss
Uber Dario being part of it.
ladder.
And it was a good opportunity for players to kind of target farm Uber uniques, which was really great.
I think the only
And we got
disappointment
to
that I
see a
have
lot
with
of
the
players
boss ladder
actually
is that
attain Uber
Varshan
uniques
is
this
really,
season.
really hard to get.
And I will say,
They made it so
plan on having the
Grigor
boss
is a
ladder
lot
again
easier,
for
which is
Season
nice.
3,
But
with some
Varshan
tweaks,
is like
which we'll talk about
ridiculous.
here,
Like,
shortly.
because
with,
there's four
the
things
stuff
you
that we're
gotta
gonna be
get,
talking
and
about
it's
with the gameplay
random
changes and
that they
everything.
drop.
And of course, we had Abattoir of Zir. This was a new endgame feature that we ended up announcing at BlizzCon, and we introduced right before the holidays for players to check out. And I do want to give a huge shout out to the community, because we got a lot of feedback about Abattoir of Zir, and this feedback is really important because we are planning on additional endgame activities in the future. I will say that Abattoir of Zir will not be present in Season 3, but based off the feedback we ended up hearing from players.
So Season 3, we're
we'll
not
more
going to have
news
anything
to share in the
like this.
future
It's going to be
about,
all
maybe
leaderboard, all
next
gauntlet.
iterations or growth from what we've learned with that endgame feature with Abattoir.
Which,
So
well, we'll
thanks
see.
again
We'll see how it
to the
goes.
community
See what
for
it's
all the
like.
great feedback with
Maybe
that.
it sucks. Maybe it's
And then
great.
we have Midwinter Blight, which
Maybe
was
it's
our
fun.
first event, our first holiday
Maybe
event
it's not.
in Diablo 4. where players got to actually collect really, really.
I mean, the only
cool,
thing disappointing about
cosmetics. You wanted
Midwinter
to carry
Blight
some
was that you
bells and
can't
things around
you
on
can't
your
just
back
like
or on your weapons
open
and
up
everything like that.
and-
You got the
and
opportunity for that.
put
Another
into
good
your
opportunity for our players to actually provide feedback, because this was our first like
your
holiday event.
boudoir,
And so we're actually gonna
the
have future holiday
transmogs that you
events.
didn't
guys will
actually
hear
play
about
the
one
character for.
pretty soon in the future. And you know,
It's fucking
based
dumb.
off of a lot of great feedback we got, you'll be seeing that feedback applied to some of these future events that we have coming forward.
It's really fucking
And of
dumb.
course, at the end of the year, we ended up going over kind of all the big stats since Diablo 4 launched, and a ton of people have joined Diablo 4.
Most popular
to,
classes
you know,
are
to
Sorcerer
slay
and
demons with
Necromancer.
us in Sanctuary.
Necromancer, like
and a lot
I
of
can
people
understand
died as
Sorcerer
well.
because it's
And some of these
I mean,
stats, you know, these
Sorceress,
numbers have only grown
because it's fun as fuck.
since we
But
posted
Necromancer,
these,
really?
late last year. Of course, we had 37 million people died at the Butcher. Now more, for sure, since we ended up having that. We've had over 1 trillion monsters killed, which is absolutely crazy. And, you know, lots of hardcore deaths for people who choose to play a little bit more risky and play hardcore specifically. And our two most popular classes being the Sorcerer and the Necromancer. Not too surprised on the Necromancer. Necromancer is a fan favorite. Has always been a fan favorite with D2 and D3. I actually, funny enough, I might actually be playing Necromancer here for Season 3. I don't know what you guys were planning on playing for Season 3, but...
The team makes fun of me. I play Swark every single season. That's my favorite.
I played Swark last season too, so
Swark is fun.
I don't blame you.
Well, I've
Good
been meaning
call.
to play
We like
Druid, so I might do
Madeline.
that.
There
Buck
we
the
go.
trend there.
or Madeline.
There we go. I did Druid in Season 1. I did Swark in Season 2. Feeling Necromancer in Season 3, so I think that's going to be my choice there. But, so it was great to see all the numbers and all the stats from Diablo 4 since launch. But today, we are here to talk about Season 3, Season of the Construct. It's arriving
January 23rd.
Dan, do you
Let's
want
go.
to give us a quick little rundown?
Sure, yeah. So, Season of the Construct is packed with a lot of content. And so, there's a lot of things we're going to cover coming up. I mean, the first thing we're going to talk about is our all-new quest line that delves beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan. Nothing good happens beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan, so that's where we're headed. And in addition to that, as you've seen from a lot of the promotional materials, we are now introducing a seasonal companion called the Seneschal Construct. And that is something that you can upgrade and really kind of round out your builds in new ways. In addition to that, we have a couple of new repeatable activities. The first is the Vaults, which is an all-new dungeon type. And the second is Arcane Tremors, which is a new overworld activity. And last but surely not least, in terms of the Season 3 package, is the Gauntlet and leaderboards.
So we're getting
those
those
are
three
coming pretty
things.
soon. But we'll give
I
you a
hope
bit of a
Companion's
tease
fun,
right
man.
now, I think.
Yeah, so I know a ton of stuff for Season 3.
Yeah.
This is most definitely the biggest season yet for Diablo 4, with a lot of content. And as you mentioned, questline and story being the first thing that we wanted to dive into.
Yeah.
Madeline, I think this is a good opportunity to
Yes.
talk to us a little
Madeline,
bit
not
about
Madeline,
what
sorry,
we can
Madeline.
expect for the questline for Season 3.
Absolutely. So as Dan mentioned, we have a new quest line for Season 3. In it, you are going to assist the mage Ayujan to purge the demon Malthus
Ayujan
from
is his name.
Vaults of Zoltan Kuul.
He looks way
Malthus
older
has
in
taken
the
over
other.
the vaults,
in the
turned them
cinematic.
into his own little kingdom, and has turned
Still
the
got a badass
hazards
beard though.
and
Look at that dude.
constructs inside of them
He should be bald
against
though.
their makers. I think a good question to start with is kind of why constructs. It's a little bit of a departure from seasons past. You know, Season 1 dealt with malignancy, and Season 2 dealt with vampires, both stemming from Lilith's influence. But Sanctuary is such a big place, and so many different stories and lore, where at present day Sanctuary is kind of the Dark Ages. We've had, you know, thousands of years of different technology and magic, and this is one of those stories. We spent a lot of time discussing as a team what we even wanted to do for Season 3. And the story team really fell in love with mage clans. We delved into a lot of Diablo lore. We delved
love
into
mages.
the Sin War books. We delved into the Roderick Vault, etc. And the mage clans, for people that don't know, were these ancient mage societies that really were expertise in certain levels of magic, and we love the Visurai. They're typically the bad guys,
Yep.
typically delve into demotic magic, even though they're not, traditionally evil per se. And Visurai created constructs. They took machinery and their demotic magic and made these soldiers or these guards. Our protagonist, Ayujan, is not technically Visurai. He's part of the Ennead clan with Zoltan Kuhl. But their goal was to take these idea of constructs and make them their own and, do them in a different way.
See, Zoltan's bold.
Yeah, and Zoltan Cole is kind of a familiar face
He
for everyone
is.
in Diablo.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Definitely pun intended.
Pun intended, yes.
Zoltan played a part in the Diablo 3 story, and of
Yes.
course we saw him in Diablo Immortal as well.
Yes, Zoltan was one of the original Haradrim. Good old Uncle Tyrael gave him the original Soul Stones. It's like, hey, I trust you, take care of them. Zoltan went a little bit off script, and he's like, what if I made these better? And so he created his Dark Soul Stone, which was his own kind of flawed attempt at ending the Eternal Conflict. It didn't go quite as he expected, and the rest of Haradrim said, we don't really like what you're doing. You got to get out. So they killed him. They're like, we're too frightened of you. But Zoltan and Ayujan knew each
killed him,
other
man. That's
in their
fucked.
youth and became business partners and eventually friends. And they shared this vision of, if we can create our own version of constructs and create this alternate power source that's not using demonic magic, the Loom, these constructs can fight heaven and hell, and humanity can flourish. Unfortunately, it didn't go as expected. They couldn't get it right. And Zoltan was just like, you know what? I'm going to move on to bigger and greater things. This is a failure. Let's move on. And Ayujan was like, no, we have something here. Let's keep going. And unfortunately, that created a rift in their friendship. And that rift allowed for the demon Malphus to infiltrate their work. Malphus is
Stupid
a
Malphus.
demon that you're going to encounter in the quest line and then fight an uber version of him later in the season. He's a little bit different than our typical demon. You think of, big scary guy with horns. Like I said before, we took inspiration from Sin War, and they have a lot of different types of demons. They have different abilities, different shapes. One of them is like this stone liquid mass with a mouth on top. And so the original Malphus was like this red mist, and that allowed him to kind of sneak into corners that he wasn't supposed to. Malphus is a named demon, and he's one of terror, but he's very unimportant in the hierarchy of hell, and that kind of bothers him. We joked around on the team that he had a desk job in hell. So when he found the opportunity to sneak into the sanctuary and to corrupt the vaults, he's like, this is my time to shine. This is my kingdom. I'm going to rule it. And he did that successfully for many, many years. And he might have gotten away with it forever, except he was a little bit too prideful. He's like, I'd like to sneak out and leave the vaults.
Yeah, he's not satisfied with the vaults. He now wants to start trying to take over Sanctuary itself.
And that's where the player comes in.
Yeah.
So I think we have footage of the quest line, the early parts. You are going to start in Gaia Cool, where Malphus's influence has seeped in. Villagers and demons don't typically go well. I can't even imagine their insurance rates. But they hire you and they're like, hey, something's going on, something up north, please figure it out for us. And so you find the first vault and you delve into it to try and get a sense of what's going on. And these are where you're going to start seeing the first hostile constructs that Malphus has corrupted.
Stupid
And find your
constructs are
own
gonna be
construct.
wrecked, man.
You start finding pieces of it. You're going to keep traveling through, and eventually you're going to find Ayujan, who is in a less perfect than ideal situation under Malphus's influence.
The sorcerer's
eventually free him.
burden.
He's like, thank you so much. I don't even
So you
know
can
what's
get into
going
this
on,
pretty
but let's
quick.
figure this out together.
Level 10.
And he fixes the Seneschal construct for you. It's like, you're probably going to need this as we delve into and force Malphus
Yeah, we
out.
like Ayujan then.
Yeah, and here we're seeing like part of the quest line, like obviously building up and kind of creating your own Seneschal construct. Yeah.
Now, I think we have footage of the Malphus fight as well.
Oh yeah, we can jump into that.
So Malphus is our first stationary boss. He uses the environment, the hazards in the room, as well as his glaive to smack you around. There are different elements in the boss fight that are going to periodically switch. Like I said before, he's this red mist, but for this fight, he is possessed the largest construct he could find, the Guardian, to fight you, and the loom is in the background.
Yeah. So
So you're gonna break the columns?
Imagine then Malphus has pretty much become like the embodiment. It's the vault itself, and the vault is now coming alive to try and kill
When you delve into the vaults, it's definitely going through his literal body.
Yep.
He definitely wants you out. He doesn't want you in there. He's going to do throw
He
everything in the
doesn't
kitchen
want you
sink
in
and shit.
there.
Yep.
We also have footage of our new seasonal town, the Gate Hall. This is kind of the gateway between the vaults and the upper world. You're going to go through it in the quest line, and then it is going to turn into a town for you.
Obel's vendor. Okay.
Has a waypoint, so easy
So you
travel.
got a whole new town square.
Most of the vendors that you know and love, you can see here that they're actually construct vendors that
The
Ayujan has
Almoner.
fixed for you to help you out. And here you're going to be accessing the vaults. You can also access them in the overworld if you choose so. So it should be a really convenient place for you to visit and turn into your main hub for this.
So there's 3
Yeah,
vaults.
we expect a lot of players will be hanging out here
Yes.
in the gate hall, since all your vendors will be here. It'll be easy access to the vaults and everything. So kind of the new hub specifically for season 3. So yeah,
Very
sounds really
excited.
cool. Yeah, really excited for the quest line and story for season 3. Obviously, we talked about Seneschal constructs and how that's actually going to be a big
No more
part
Gemma Chan.
of the storyline. People have been talking about it all this week with seeing the footage of
I like her
wow,
voice.
it looks like we have these little
Was good.
companions with us now
Yep.
for season 3. So Dan, can you talk us a little bit about what Seneschal constructs would be
Yeah,
for
so the
players?
Seneschal construct is a seasonal companion, and the seasonal companion is kind of the embodiment of your power chase for the season. So every season we try to develop a new type of power chase, and power is really important to our players. Obviously, this is
yeah.
a game about becoming
It's the
super
most
powerful and
important
killing
thing.
lots of demons, and we're always trying to find new ways to do that. So we really wanted to stretch
I have
ourselves
just hit,
this
as of
season
yesterday,
and find a way that
the
players
apex
hadn't
of the
seen
power
before.
of this build.
And so that is how the Seneschal came into being. Now, the Seneschal is this little construct, well, maybe not so little, but it follows you
medium-sized.
around.
He's almost bigger than the
It
sorceress.
has different skills and abilities.
And I will note,
Yes.
I will note, you can pet your construct, your
The most
Seneschal
important
construct,
part.
which
Yes.
is you have to be able to pet it. So yes, you
Absolutely.
can.
How do you do it
Yeah.
though?
And so you can have
Because
two
I've tried to pet the
skills
fucking
on
dog so
your
many times.
Seneschal construct.
Motherfucker
Those
just doesn't
are
let me
given
down.
to the construct using what is called a governing stone. And governing stones are these semi-precious stones that you can find throughout your adventures in Season 3. They drop in a lot of those repeatable activities I mentioned, which we'll cover soon.
I would say they're more than
And,
semi-precious. They're
there's lots
fucking
of different
straight
types. I think
precious.
there's about 12 that you can slot in.
Some of them are probably trash, and I'll never even touch them.
We weren't
but
satisfied with that though, because I mean,
But-
okay, 12 skills, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but we wanted to allow players really to modify those skills however they saw fit. And so we've also developed 27 different tuning stones, another type of stone that you can slot in then to modify that skill. And so you've got those 2 governing stones, and then each governing stone has 3 different tuning stones that can modify it and just create really wild combinations of powers that'll allow players to experiment how they see fit. And so kind of with that breadth of powers then, you've got a lot of different options for being able to kind of round out your build and create new types of ways to kill demons.
Awesome.
So,
That's very cool. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And I think we might actually have
I
some
think we do.
examples and
Yeah.
footage of what some of these
yeah,
would be.
so let me tell you what's going on here. So we've brought up our construct menu, and this is in the inventory UI, but it's its own separate UI, so your construct is not going to take up your traditional inventory space. And this construct has
feel
2
like we
governing
might be
stones
using
equipped
that
right now.
fire.
One is called Focus Fire, which was that beam of fire that was coming out. The other one is called
That's
Lightning
interesting,
Bolt.
too.
And you can see
That's-
it
I mean, it's
shooting some
not that
lightning
slow.
bolts. Like I said, 2 skills,
You
not
can-
too bad. You're killing some folks here.
So you probably want to do one
But we
support
wanna,
and
we
one
want to
attack,
amp things
right?
up a bit. So
I would
in
think.
addition to being able just to get stones as drops
We'll
from
see.
activities, you can also craft stones. And so we've gone to our gate hall here, and we're crafting a new stone. We're going to see what
We'll
we get.
see.
In this case, it's a pummel stone, a governing stone. I already have that skill, so it's just going to count towards XP, towards leveling up pummel. And I'm going to kit out my seneschal a little bit different. So we've got focus fire, and I think the first thing we're going to add is voluminous support. Fancy way of saying that it's going to increase the area of effect for your attacks. We're also going to add electrocution. Now, even though focus fire is a fire attack, electrocution is going to add some lightning damage to it, and it's also going to add a little bit of chance of stun. And so now we're dipping our toes into this crowd control. And then finally, we're going to add arcing support. And arcing support's really cool because arcing support allows your abilities to chain. And so now let's see what that power is going to look like when we bring it back up.
2.5 seconds. So I bet your attack
All
speed
right,
increases
so
that.
here now, you can see that focus fire is
look at that
chaining
thing.
amongst enemies. You can see that some of them are getting
it's
stunned,
stunning
little
them and
electricity
electrocuting.
around them, and it had a bigger area of effect. Similarly, if we were to apply some of these to the lightning bolt attack, let's say we gave it multi-shot in that arcing support, now
Crazy.
it can just blast through enemies. So yeah, it's
so you
got
kinda-
a lot of options.
I
there.
feel like I wanna
so
pull
we're
and
kind of seeing some
freeze.
examples of what players can potentially do with their seneschal
Yep.
constructs and actually make
Pull,
adjustments and modify
freeze,
them to kind of
and,
suit your specific playstyle. I think a big question is
area
like,
of attack.
can you actually add, maybe some status effects or things like
Yes.
that? Like, can you potentially add in a tuning stone that may make enemies like vulnerable, for instance?
Yes, absolutely. So again, we wanted to give all of you a lot of different options to play with. We want
Can you
this to be a
stack
toy
them?
that
Like
you
if
can
you have
experiment
two
with.
vulnerable
And so
supports
that means
applied,
that,
like
you
one
know,
to each
some of the examples we showed were more damage
governing
dealing, where
stone,
the
does it
seneschal is
stack?
doing the damage.
So it's 4
but
seconds
then we
instead
also
of
want to
2
give
or
players
whatever
the
it might
ability
be.
to just kind of set up
We'll find out, huh?
enemies for you to go in and land the killing blow. So there are a lot of different support stones that can make things vulnerable, bleed things, electrocute them.
Maybe we won't bleed. I
Chill
don't know.
them. I mean, the list goes on. I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much any of the
There are some
the
interesting
verbs in the
things you can do
game.
with a
So your,
barbarian.
your
bleed.
possibilities are massive with what
Yes.
you can do with your seneschal. And one thing, this is actually something that Sean White, who was in the video,
Yep.
our
I think what I
Dev
like the
Insights video
most
before
about the
actual
sorcerer's
start of the
build I'm
stream,
playing right now, though, is that
pointed
you
out
have the
yesterday
ability to use
social
more
media
than one
to
element.
players that were
So,
asking
like,
a little
my
bit more,
Frostbolt
or for more
also
clarity on
applies
some,
burn.
some items, but
I wanna
the
be able
seneschal
to
construct
use
actually
more
does
than one
scale
element
one-to-one with like specific like
with a
secondary type of
barbarian as
stats or
well.
even
Yes.
or things that are associated with your
Even if
your
the
actual
element
character.
is
So
bleed.
things like attack rating or crit
Because it's
chance,
like
for
straight
instance.
physical.
Yeah, it was very important for the seneschal
bleed
to
is
feel
physical
as
though,
if
too,
it
isn't it?
was an extension of you if you wanted to be that. Also,
Hmm.
we really didn't want to get a seneschal that was just outclassed when
Maybe
you
that
got to
doesn't
level
make sense.
100, because then
Yeah.
where's the fun, right?
Do you want an
So
elemental
yes,
barbarian?
absolutely, the seneschal will become more powerful as you
It
become
probably
more
doesn't
powerful.
take advantage of
Awesome.
all of
Yeah,
the built-in
so
stuff that a
seneschal construct's
barbarian can
obviously
do.
playing a huge role, and with the construct and you now being able to customize and change things up for how you want to play, there's new challenges and that are associated with the season 3 season of the construct, and one of them is vaults. Which I know we do want to dive a little bit more into
Yes, we do.
specifically. So, yeah, do you guys want to talk a little bit more about vaults?
Sure. Vaults are a new dungeon for the season, and we have 4 types of vaults. Like I said before, they are this extension of Malphus. And because of that, he has turned the hazards inside of them into enemies in and of themselves. We wanted to explore the fantasy of a environment that was hostile, and it was ready to kill you often, and so they're filled with hazards
Sweet.
that spinning fires of
I
death.
don't like to die though.
4
It,
plates
it
that come
doesn't make me
alive,
happy.
arrows
Even
that
though
shoot
I'm
out of
not
the
playing
walls,
hardcore, it
and
still
with our
doesn't make me
construct
happy when I
enemies.
die.
I think we have some footage of the
I
vaults
want to
as
just
well to
destroy
kinda walk you
everything
through it.
all the time in
So yeah,
big fun ways.
constructs in them per usual. These, because they're so hostile,
But freezing
and
shit as a
dangerous, we wanted
barbarian and
them
just
to have a good,
pounding them would be
be
great.
lucrative and be risk reward. So we have a lot of different loot. I think a little bit later in the video, there's like an explosion of gold, and that's just going to be common. And our dungeon designers, typically with the dungeon experience, you get a pop-up and you're like, okay, it's telling me to kill all the enemies, I know what to do. The dungeon designers wanted to explore a little bit of I'm not sure what I'm going to be experiencing, I have to go find my objective. And so the
Interesting.
objectives are
That's
vague a little
definitely
bit on
a
purpose,
change.
but typically vaults end in this, what we call informally as a
Was there a
death
shit
room,
ton of gold there?
danger room,
Dang.
where it is everything is being thrown
Danger
at
room,
you,
it's
all the
X-Men
traps
danger
in the
room.
vault accumulated in one large room. So yeah, we're really excited. It's a bit of new gameplay, dodging traps, and this is one of the danger rooms, for example. Yeah, we're really excited to get people to dive into this and experiment.
And obviously with vaults, like like tons of traps here.
Yes.
I know that there's some gameplay associated with like kind of avoiding them and rewards associated with those as well.
Yes, absolutely. So certainly Madeline has outlined a lot of the risks associated with vaults. I mean, those hazards are going to be pretty unforgiving. But if we're putting a lot of risks in front of you guys, we want to make sure there's a lot of rewards too. So you saw a little bit of it already with like some of the basic chests in the vaults have been
They don't
souped
give
up,
you a
so
lot
they're,
of time
more
before they
rewarding
actually go off.
than those chests you'd find in other dungeons.
Like,
but there's another
they
mechanic
light
at
up,
play too.
but then
And that's
you
called,
got to make sure you're
Zoltan's
not on
Warning.
there.
So as you enter Vault, after you've cleared
crazy, man.
some of Malphus's influence out of the vault,
My bro, what do you say?
you can find the statue of Zoltan Cool because, of course, Zoltan Cool.
He has to have a statue.
He's got to have a
himself.
statue in every
Hello?
vault. I mean, that's just how he rolls, right? So
You finally got your cover?
if you're able to find a special,
Nice.
it's called a Pearl of Warding,
They
you can
look just as
offer
good?
that to the statue, and in return, the statue is
Job,
going to
bro.
grant you Zoltan's Warding. This is a
You
buff.
got them took care of real
It
nice.
doesn't really help your combat too much, but what it does is it gives you additional rewards, and you can see right there, there's kind of that glowing one to the side with the icon.
Something yummy.
That is a word-woven chest that contains extra rewards if you're able to keep that buff. And so as you get better and better at the vaults, you're going to start basically
I like taco,
challenging
bro.
yourself
Taco Saturday.
to keep the buff. And you keep the buff by avoiding the hazards. And so the gameplay really becomes focused on trying
be
to make
nice.
sure that you're moving as cleanly as
But
possible
it sounds like
through
it
the
was worth
vaults,
it.
in addition to fighting the enemies in order to get the highest
Must be
payout.
nice,
And
bro.
if you make like mistakes, like
Must be nice. What did you get?
I got the bean burrito, but I took out the bean and the other stuff, and I put chicken, rice, and cheese.
So you got a chicken burrito.
Yeah, because they got rid of the chicken burrito on the menu.
What?
They used to have a shredded chicken burrito, and they got rid of it.
Mm.
They got rid of the loaded potato griller burrito.
Dirtbags.
I don't know why they changed the menu all the time. It's fucking annoying.
To switch it up,
They
bro.
got rid of that Chipotle ranch one too. Griller or something?
What?
I think they got rid of that one.
The hell, bro? Taco Bell's going to shit. Mm-hmm. They're taking all the good stuff off the menu, and they can't make the order right ever.
It's just ours. Ours can't be.
This is why we need to move. We need to move. We need to move to a Sonic.
Really bad.
Where's the closest Sonic, bro? We have to move back there. That shithole area, bro. Ew. I don't want to move back there. There's a Sonic in Pinellas Park, but it's in a shithole area too.
There's a Sonic in Orlando. There's 2 Sonics in Orlando.
Should we move to Orlando?
I couldn't check that one out because we were gonna place the order and it said that they were already closed.
What?
They closed at 11 and we tried to place the
Well,
order.
that's a shitty Taco Bell then.
Not Taco Bell, Sonic.
Oh,
Usually the Sonics are open till like midnight. Because the Taco Bell was open until 2 in the morning, so we went there.
yeah, that's what Taco Bell's always open late.
Because it was 10. By the time I got out of there, it was like 10.
They got to make sure that they got food for all the drunk people, so they can eat before they get home and die and not die. Mm-hmm. I mean, my vote's McDonald's. I was gonna get some McDonald's tonight. Yeah, you do. You want it so bad. Their burgers are so the best burgers. Well, yeah, but there's no fucking Sonic, bruv. Mm-hmm. Sonics are better, but there's no Sonic. That's horrible. Ew. Chili's burgers are gross. Because it was that gross.
The fries are really good.
Mm,
My aunt didn't really like
they're okay.
her. No, she thought the chicken was alright, but the barbecue sauce was like above
The
where
only thing good at Chili's is their buffalo chicken sandwich is great. Everything else is Duke.
their mac and cheese is good.
It's okay.
I think they got a new mac and cheese. And the fries are good.
They're just okay too.
Their pizza's good.
Oh.
The kids menu?
So we should get Five Guys then. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have to discuss that with the group. I don't know if everyone's on board with that. Sophia doesn't
Whatever.
like burgers.
I gave up 2 options, so I don't know what to say.
I'll talk to everybody and see what we get.
Oh, I got a little squeaker.
See what the group says.
You gonna ask the group chat?
I'm literally just gonna go in the other room and ask.
Oh, that's not the group chat. It's the same thing.
You're not in this. You're not over there.
I can hear it. Oh, I can.
Are you people gonna go to the concert? My mom's gonna go.
What time?
Faye Webster.
I didn't know.
Because I'm buying tickets tomorrow. The general sales tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
It starts at
tomorrow,
8, and
I
it's in
love
St.
you.
Pete.
Tomorrow, it's only a day away. Ooh.
I said it's at 8.
So the question is, should I go to Fabe Webster? I don't know.
Okay.
Like I've only listened to 1.5 of her albums, and the second one is better than the first one.
So is that a no?
I didn't listen to any of it.
So is that a no?
I don't know. I said I don't know,
But I'm buying tickets tomorrow.
I'm gonna be home when you do it. Am I not?
but I don't know, dude.
I need an answer from you.
Not right this second. What are
I
you
need it
chomping?
right now. These are really good. Do you want to bite?
No.
They're pancake cookies.
It's like mapley and little
Oh my
cookie.
god. Pancake cookie. Is it like a Twinkie then?
No, it's way better.
Tastes like syrup.
There's no way
It's
it's
like
better
little
than a
Oreo
Twinkie.
Tastes like syrup.
Twinkies are so good.
No, they're not that good.
You
Would be able to eat a lot of those.
are crazy. Talking crazy.
Like syrup.
Wait, you started dinner with cookies?
Yes, my mommy gave them to me.
Unbelievable.
Talking about dinner tomorrow. His options that he put out were Five Guys and McDonald's.
Not in that order.
It was McDonald's and then Five Guys.
Yes.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I said I don't really know if I want McDonald's.
I don't want McDonald's.
Why?
And then I said I have to. discuss
Why
with the
can't we
group on
eat
Five Guys,
McDonald's
because Sophia doesn't
anymore?
like burgers.
It makes me so sad.
So
I wanna
both
cry.
those options suck, is what I'm hearing.
You bros are
Where's your
nasty. You bros are nasty.
Can we just eat this? thing, like, taco
My
soup?
bro's alive. I haven't seen her in like 3 days, maybe 4.
That's not true.
She's alive. I can't believe it.
I need an answer.
I can't
Did you
even
hear
believe
what
it.
I said about the pest guy?
No.
He opened her room and he walked in. He said, "Oh shit!" And then when he got out, he came downstairs and he said, "I didn't know if I was gonna be able to find my way out of there."
Mm. I know I never can.
Oh my god, it's not that bad right now.
Oh my
It's
god.
literally not that bad right
It's
now.
always
I
that
had
bad.
I
Bro.
had to make it clear. I was like, "Oh, Sophia's room."
You need to do something about that
Our
pan
room.
that you used, like, what was it, Saturday or Sunday now? Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, girl, you need to clean that. for
Sunday.
real.
bro.
I'm cleaning my silverware.
You
tonight,
took
but I
you
cleaned
took
it
my
pizza
favorite
tonight.
pan and you didn't clean it. That's my favorite one.
For like a week, bruv.
It's not. We
Pretty
were
damn
discussing
close.
Dinner.
And he said McDonald's.
Yeah, well, they said
Or-
no.
or
Oh, well,
Five Guys.
they didn't say that. Or Five
Did you
Guys.
say no to McDonald's? I said I didn't want McDonald's.
I don't.
Exactly. So
That's not a no.
No.
Okay,
N-
no.
Lame.
No.
You're
And then he said Five
not
Guys
cool.
was his second option, but I don't think no. Like all I can eat there is fries.
They have wieners, bro.
I don't like hot dogs.
Their wieners are so good.
No.
Mm.
The day that I met you, I started dreaming.
You have to tell me before you go night night.
Maybe. I won't know by then. I'll know by tomorrow after I get to work.
What the heck?
Bro, I got halfway through the second album.
When
The
do you
Funny
get to
Funny
work?
Haha.
When do you get to work? When do you get to work?
Like 9?
Okay, I think the ticket's on sale at 10, so you have to tell me.
Bro. It's too much pressure.
Oh my god.
I was like, our
I'm gonna
Taco Bell
cave
is
right
so
in.
good.
It's a yes.
No.
Or
From the pressure, I'm gonna cave in.
and do what? Die? What are you talking about?
Get crushed?
You should go pet Nima. 'Cause I accidentally did it.
Why are you abusing my Kiki?
I felt really bad after it was an accident. In the head. Bro, I still haven't got that stupid art piece back.
You never will.
It's gone. You just donated it to some dirtbag museum, bro.
Maybe they threw it away.
What are you feeling? If
I
they
guess-
threw it away, I might actually start crying.
I
I'm
would.
good with Culver's,
Should
Chick-fil-A,
probably- Why
Taco
would you say
Bell.
No, I would cry
We're
too.
eating Mexican on Saturday. You want? Should we do? I don't think we should do double. Plus, Dad doesn't like our Taco Bell.
What about Firehouse?
I don't want
Oh,
subs.
did you hear? I love when she knows.
Unless we go to Subway so we can get a tuna.
Subway's
But we can't go to Subway. Sophia doesn't like sandwiches.
my options I would throw out there would be Publix. I like your Culver.
No.
Okay.
Culver's is off the list.
What the heck?
Culver's is dog shit.
It's not even.
It makes my butthole explode every time I eat it. It's dog shit.
Is it because of the cheese curds?
What was your second option?
Maybe.
The other one?
Right,
Chick-fil-A,
Alice?
but, like that's like every
Chick-fil-A, I
time.
put Publix.
How about Chipotle?
No.
Lame.
We're doing Mexican on Saturday.
You can have Mexican more than one day.
Okay, then I vote for Taco Bell. Yeah. Okay.
My dad
They
doesn't want
fuck up Taco Bell every time.
I'm good with Taco Bell.
If you go to a different Taco Bell,
When,
I'm in.
when we were in Orlando, we got Taco
There's
Bell.
Taco Bells everywhere.
After our, it was so
I
good.
bragged so
Like it
hard
was
on him.
perfect. It was literally so good. We literally like inhaled it.
So hard on him.
Go to that one.
In Orlando.
Yeah, in Orlando.
Whatever.
It'll be cold when you get it.
Nah.
I'll get it warm. You'll get it cold.
I'll just warm it up.
Oh,
I'm gonna
she's
fart on
such
it.
a sweet kitty.
She's gonna booger your face. So, oh, there it goes.
She doesn't have boogers.
Yeah, she does.
Can you smell it?
She always has boogers.
No, it's not wet. It wasn't wet.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, kitty soft paws. Kitty gorgeous. Okay, okay. The day that I met. I'm down for Taco Bell. You should search up, but
He's
if
not.
there's one close to another one. And how far away it is. Hey, 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 hey.
Dookie, dookie,
I can't believe they put a
TacoBell.com. Locations.
Hey, your cat is
Zoom. There's one right here, bro. That's so close.
oh, no, no.
Why can't you just zoom with the fucking wheel, you dirtbags? Start your order.
She's listening to Taylor Cray. Oh, I love that meow. You're so cute. I love you. That's her. I'm so happy meow. She's happy girl. Oh, Allie, don't go there.
Who is Tatum Rich?
Allie. Annie. Because we're doing it.
10 minutes, bro.
Oh.
Bro, you're like already there.
How far away is it from home?
Like 15.
Uncle Cutie.
Think this will work?
No.
Fucking bullshit.
How would it work?
Why wouldn't it?
Because I don't think it's set up on your computer.
It should be. That stupid shit comes up. 16 minutes, bro. Or no, 11 minutes. 11 minutes.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it.
Cattleman.
Yeah, it says via
The
Cattleman.
road right under.
Bro, it's gonna
I-70.
take you forever.
You are crazy.
That road is dog
There's
shit.
literally less miles on that one.
Yeah, but it's dog shit road.
Yeah, but I like to save miles because gas.
I like Cattleman.
Because it's not our Cattleman, it's the Cattleman across from us.
All right, hey, here I got a question for you.
Jesus. Cadillac. Are you talking cars?
I got a question for you.
Let me check his teeth for enamel. No, 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 bad kitty.
Do 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 do.
Even though he doesn't eat the gummies. I mean, not the
Do
gummies.
do
It's
do.
just supplements.
Who's eating gummies?
Didn't you just get a car? Yeah, you
Who
did.
is eating gummies?
You don't want a Tesla no more?
In transit,
Yeah,
available.
Tesla trash, right?
61. This one right here.
Did you
Yeah,
learn
bro.
that Tesla
61.
trash?
61. Okay, so. Oh, what the fuck? Continue, you fucking retards. No, that's not the right one.
Sorry. You flinched so bad. What? She bumped into me and I had to find my balance, and then I moved like this to like this. And she went,
Oh, who's hitting you?
Sport
you
3.
guys?
Don't even.
Drama.
56. No way. 57. They went down, bro. What the hell?
Are you
You're gonna get one then?
are you selling your Tesla?
No, I can't.
And why are you?
Available
You
now.
got a lease?
What do you?
Where's the tire? Dude,
Why
what?
are you looking at these ones?
What the
then
black
why
tires?
Are you looking at other cars?
Where? Black tires. Just give me the fucking black tires, bro.
Why do tires have to
Unbelievable.
be black?
Because it's way badassery
Oh my
more.
God.
Way more
I don't
badassery.
even notice ours.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Okay, so what do you think about this?
4?
74. Oh my
You
god.
should just get a regular tire. It's way cheaper.
For what,
No, those
Dad?
tires are shit.
What do you What do you need this?
If I get one of these, do you bros want the Tesla or the Kia? Can I sell that thing for the next 3 years? I mean, it's in her hands which one you would get, but it's a new car either way. 2023.
A Tesla?
I don't want one.
Would you fall out? So that's a no?
Doesn't the Tesla work where if you take your foot off the brake, it brakes?
You can take that off though.
You can take that off, bro. You will love it, I promise you. You would love it. Is that totally against your religion?
Yeah.
It is pretty gross, yeah.
We have to discuss.
Wow.
Do you really not like your Tesla that much?
I don't feel as happy as I would in that.
I mean, your Jaguar was better than
I agree.
it was cooler.
I should have kept that and then traded it in for that, but I didn't. So here we are.
But then we'd have to keep it in the garage.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, you would move the powered thing outside?
No. You just charge it when you need to in the garage.
Then we'd have to move. Where would you go then?
Next to it.
On the right.
Oh, in the garage?
So when we needed to charge it, you would park on the right, and we would charge it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gonna save you money on gas.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. But we can't drive far away.
Drive farther, would we?
It's 320-mile range. You'll drive wherever the fuck you need to go.
Then why did you always complain you couldn't drive far?
Because that was the Jaguar. It only had 220-mile
You
range.
could drive because you could also go to a charging station.
You
right?
can go to a charging
that
station too.
free?
No,
you have to pay for
but
it
it's
with
cheaper than gas.
And it takes a while to charge it.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't it?
I mean, it's longer than getting gas, but it's not that long. They got superchargers that supercharge it
I
fast.
know they have one at the mall. I know there's one across.
There's one right behind.
University
There's
by
one.
Wawa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How's the thought? Think about it.
We'll think about it. Yeah. I'm gonna tell my mom about Taco Bell.
Good luck with that.
Mommy.
$74.95, bro. They're not asking. They're just telling. How do you reduce it to? Why does it keep putting the fucking ones on now? I didn't select one. But it keeps showing the fucking ones. I don't want Sport 2. I don't want Sport 2. I don't want Sport 2. How many times I gotta take this fucking filter off? You motherfuckers. What a fucking shitty website. All right, maybe we don't get a Cadillac then. They can't even make a website that fucking works.
I know.
All right, let's go back to this. Sorry.
Like,
I will too.
We back.
I am a person that gets hit by like every single trap under the sun. Are there ways of being able to like help mitigate like some of those types of mistakes?
You can have multiple stacks of buffs. So one pearl is, I believe, 3 stacks.
Yep.
And so
3
if you
stacks?
want to go grind the overworld activity to get the pearls, you're like, okay, I have a bunch of stacks. I
So
have
you get
a
more
really good
stuff the
chance.
more stacks
and
you have?
if you don't
or
make it,
how does that work?
no stacks left. There were 2 chests at the end. You still always get a loot, but the super great loot comes from Solon's Warding.
Yep.
Got it. So yeah,
I wonder
so
if there's a
there
cost
are
to get
opportunities
into
for
the
players
dungeon
to actually
too,
get
like
multiple
with the
chests.
sigil.
Yes.
And you can actually have multiple stacks of warding to essentially create a buffer if you know you're
Yes.
planning on playing a little bit more sloppy.
If
or
you
something
really
like that.
really want to brute force your way through, you can, but you've got to invest a little more time.
Got it. No, that makes sense. That's great to know. And like I guess with the Pearls and Overworld activity, I know that has like to earn those types of buffs. Like how do players actually end up doing
Right. So that's our second repeatable activity that I'd mentioned, which is the Arcane Tremors. And so Arcane Tremors is
Arcane
a new type of overworld
Tremors.
activity that's really localized around the entrances of the vault. So remember how we were talking about Malphus, and Malphus's sights have become grander now that he controls all the vaults. And so all the constructs are starting to spill out into Sanctuary and cause trouble.
He's letting them all
Additionally,
out.
some new
Bastard
types of
Malphus.
hazards have
Might have to
unearthed
kill
and
them
are
all.
starting to appear around the vaults.
Every single
And
one of
so
them,
it's
I'm
your
gonna kill 'em
job
all.
to every so often go in and beat back, all these construct invasions or incursions, essentially, that are creating the tremors. And so I can talk a little bit about this activity. We can queue up some video for that too. And so
Cue it up,
here,
boys.
you've arrived and you see basically a roaming band of
We got a
constructs.
lot of time
And,
left.
obviously, it's your job to go in and kill them and send them back to where they came from.
Kill
But,
them all.
that's not all you need to do within this activity. What you're
So what
looking
is
to
this
do
construct doing?
to really advance the activity is look for these cores that you can
Shooting
use
lightning bolts?
to draw out Malphus's most powerful lieutenants. And so you're getting a core here from an obelisk, which is an overworld hazard, and you've got to make sure to not get hit by that. And if you collect enough
This one is-
cores, you're able to deposit them in a brazier,
Where
which
is
you
this
can
construct?
see
There
on
it is.
screen
All right,
here
still shooting
glowing.
lightning bolts.
And the brazier is a signal
That one
that
doesn't
you
look
are now
great.
challenging one of the heralds of Malphus. And the herald of Malphus
looks like a
you see
shitty
appearing
power.
right there. You and hopefully a bunch of other of your friends will, gang up and defeat the herald of Malphus. Get some cool rewards in addition to those pearls that we were talking about before, which you can then use to supercharge your rewards elsewhere.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know like this
big
being an
badass dude
overworld
that can fucking
activity,
smash you with one hit.
one thing that, and this is
How much you want
based
to
off
bet
of
people
feedback
die
that
to
we've
that?
gotten from the community
One hit
as well, even
smashing.
with Season of Blood, there was Blood Harvest, which were overworld activities, and now there's kind of activities everywhere. And they all have different various rewards for the player, whether that's vaults, whether that's doing some of the activities on the overworld for this season. You have opportunities of actually being able to get rewards kind of all over the place.
Yeah, our intention is for season 1, you kind of stayed in tunnels, and
Yep.
then season 2, you kind of stayed in the overworld most of the time. We didn't want to make the players feel like they're stuck and they can only stay in one place and this is it. So the intention is you do some dungeons, you do some overworld activities, maybe do some bounties along the way. You should feel like you're mobile and not, hey, I have to stay here for the season.
Yeah, and just another thing that I know we briefly touched on, which was vaults and how there are nightmare variations of that.
Yes.
And that's something that is additional to just going through vaults as well. So
Yep. Yeah, the vaults are fully dungeons in that respect, and so we have the ability. And
Is it
made
the same
nightmare
vault, like, every
versions of all
time, though?
These dungeons, and the nightmare versions of the dungeons obviously have more difficult combat, but they also have a lot more rewards. So those
Because if
chests
it's
we
the
talked
3
about
of
before,
the
the
same
ward-woven
dungeon
chests,
the whole season,
you
that
actually get more of those as you advance.
that will get
in
old.
the nightmare
But if they're
system.
like,
so then your vault
if they
runs become
change,
even more and more rewarding in that case.
yeah,
better.
and like how would you access something like that specifically?
Right, so
That's why
we're
the
gonna
Nightmare
use
Dungeon
the,
grind
Nightmare
isn't-
Dungeon sigil system,
isn't
but we've
tedious.
created
It's good
a
because
way that the game
you
can
go
now
to all kinds of different
award
dungeons.
unique seasonal
never the
sigils.
same
and in this
dungeon
case,
every
they're called
time.
vault sigils. And so we did that because, for
I
those
mean, you
folks who
could
really want to focus in
choose
on
to do the
vault
same
play,
dungeon over and over because it's a good
you
one.
can earn
like
the vault sigils, and now
Leviathan's
you can
Maw.
target farm the vaults instead of leaving it up to random.
What was the
chance.
last one I
Very
did?
cool.
There's
Awesome.
one
No, I
last
hate
dungeon,
Sirocco Caverns,
the,
though.
the
That was
Mega
fucking
Uber
horrible.
dungeon. It's kind of a, it's
'Cause those
very
stupid red
large. It's
ghosts.
the best features of all the other vaults.
I don't like
put into
anything
one,
with
and that
ghosts
is the
actually,
Malthus
because
and so you will be
it's
quest
either
line,
the
you'll
fucking
defeat him,
red
and
balls
then
that
Uber
fuck
version
you up, or the red
as
like
quest line for the rest of the
super
season.
arrow
And so
shot,
there is an
or
Uber version of Malthus.
it's the fucking
that is even more challenging than the quest
whitish,
version.
greenish soul
And,
balls that fuck you up.
he
So
kind of
I do not
sits
like the
parallel
ghosts at all.
to the current boss ladder, so you don't need
They're
to
fucking
do him
bitches,
for the
them
boss
and those
ladder, but
stupid
it's certainly going to be a
hornets.
bonus for you if you do.
Awesome. So yeah,
They're fucking
way
bitches.
way more additional content in this season, and we have a lot of different ways of being able to play and take your character. You can do it activities on the overworld. You can actually use those activities to help you out in the vaults. You can do
Yay.
nightmare variations of the vaults. We have Uber vaults now, or with a larger, more difficult vault with a new boss here for season 3 as well. And this is just a little bit of what we have for season 3 with, of course, we have Seneschal Constructs, which will be around with you all the time. And with that, we, of course, have one additional component to
one
season
more.
3.
That's
and,
right.
And that's with the Gauntlet and Leaderboard. And I will caveat, like, I know we mentioned this in the blog earlier this week. So the Gauntlet and Leaderboard are actually not going to launch at the start of this season. And that's really because, we want players to actually go through the season and actually grow and learn the season with their character before we actually launch the leaderboards. So we will have information on when we actually do launch
and mid-season
leaderboards,
is probably the
really
perfect
soon.
time because most
But,
people will have.
Dan, I know
most
wants to
grinders are going to
kind of
have
dive deeper into what
a level
leaderboards
100
are
character by
and
now.
what the Gauntlet is for players, so they have a better idea.
Yeah, so a lot of you saw a taste at BlizzCon of what the Gauntlet and the Trials leaderboards are going to be. And so we can go in a bit more depth here and hopefully start to answer some of your questions. So the Gauntlet is another new dungeon type. The Gauntlet is something that unlocks with the overall leaderboard feature in World Tier 4. And basically that means that it's targeting more of your in-game players at this point. Folks who have really decided on a build, they're starting to really round it out. It's become more powerful, and now they want to prove their might, not just to themselves, but obviously to show off and have bragging rights. So
I want to prove my might.
The Gauntlet itself, new type of dungeon, is kind of based around 3 different principles. The first is that it is
I gotta
seed.
say, like,
The second is
abattoir-wise,
that it
the
is nonlinear.
sorceress
And
repped
thirdly,
the level
like
1
I said, it's there
faster
to prove
than
your might.
the
And
druid
so I'm
did.
going to kind of unpack that a little bit. Fixed means really that it is trying to be as fair as possible for everyone. Everyone gets the same gauntlet every week. And so you're not fishing for, the best roll of a rift or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really a level playing field at this point. And let me tell you, that was kind of hard to do. Our game is not very good at doing one thing. It loves to do random things. But in this case, we felt competition demanded that it be fair.
Yeah.
Non-linear is really all about how the dungeon is laid out. It is not a dungeon where you travel from the beginning to the end. It's not about trying to get to the end as quickly as possible. It's about the choices you make while you're within that dungeon. And so the layout basically allows you to develop all manner of strategies. I mean, when we had people testing the dungeons, the gauntlets, there would be arguments over, or not even arguments, sometimes people would just kind of say, what was the best path you took? Oh, I think I can do better than that. And so a lot of it is trying to figure out your way through the dungeon each week. And then finally, proving your might is about killing enemies and gathering what we're calling proofs of might, and then trying to get the highest score possible. So it's not about just going fast. Certainly going fast helps. But it's really about how effective and efficient are you at combat. And that's going to be reflected in your score. And so at the end of a gauntlet, you're going to get a score. and you're going to say, okay, can I do better than that? And we're going to say, well, you know, we've got a couple targets you can try and hit, but really you're going to be shooting for those leaderboards.
Yeah.
But let's circle back on strategies a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a little bit of video to help with that. So here's the gauntlet right here. It, for all intents and purposes, looks like a normal dungeon. But we said, again, it's World Tier 4. It's targeting level 100 players. So we're going to throw a dungeon boss at you right at the
Why not?
start.
Yeah,
Has it
and
done
I will
anything
note,
yet?
like, I know we're mentioning level 100.
Nothing
Technically, you
noticeable.
can do
Yes.
Gauntlet before level 100. It's just probably more efficient to do it at level 100 just because it is an
What is it
endgame
doing?
activity that,
I mean-
and it'll be challenging.
I mean, if you think you're ready to tackle the gauntlet below level 100, by all means. It's just, it's not tuned that way.
What is it doing?
And so here, you're fighting, you know, the Tomb Lord, and he's pretty powerful, but you're more powerful. In that case, you defeated him. Now, the cool thing about defeating that boss is it doesn't drop loot, it drops a shrine. And that shrine can then be used as a power-up to, you know, further increase your power within the gauntlet. And there's other types of new shrines within the gauntlet, too. We just hit previously here a Pillar of Proving, and that's a shrine that actually respawns all the enemies around you. Now, why would you want to do that? Because you want to kill them again and get their score, right? So we've got the Pillar of Proving, we've got the Pillar of Glory, which is a way to basically get
How
a
did that not just
multiplier
blow
on
him
your
up?
score. And we've even got chests
He didn't
scattered
even
all
have a
throughout the
barrier or
dungeon that you
anything
can
up.
earn keys for. And you see keys up in the corner on the HUD there. And those keys give you even additional score. So a lot of the strategy of a gauntlet is below level 100 by all.
Keys. Oh, there's the keys. So tracks the score, tracks the time. There's keys. Tomb Lord. Okay.
Building up even higher score.
Exactly, and so that's the thing I think with gauntlets, like we're going to start to see some really, and because they change weekly, and these leaderboards will be weekly, we're going to see players kind of create different combinations of what's the best way of optimizing for the best score possible. You know, taking advantage of the shrines, taking advantage of the chest.
I see a bunch of
taking
content
advantage of,
creators creating
should I
shit
drag
around
a
that
bunch
too.
of enemies over here
It's
just
like
because
a
I know
content
I'll have a
creator's
shrine
dream.
ready and stuff like that.
Like
So
if
it's
I
gonna
had
actually be really
time,
interesting
like
to
if
see, and
I
think
could
it
do this
adds
all day,
even more complexity to
That's what I
the
would be
idea
doing.
once you start adding additional players to it as well.
Yeah, no, we had a lot
Gauntlet
of fun testing this,
strategizing.
especially in parties, because parties
builds
can then
that support
start
it.
dividing and conquering what you need to
That's
do
what I'd
in
be
order
doing.
to get that high
But
score.
no, I got to work all
And
day.
so we expect
And
party scores to
fucking-
be, frankly, ridiculous.
Only get to play at night.
Parties,
and have
got to play with
rely
friends
on
there for that and stuff. And so I
some
know
other
with
people to-
leaderboards, when you're looking at leaderboards, like I
to
think we
make my
actually have
content for me.
an
Yeah.
image
Come up with
of
ideas
the
and
leaderboards here, just like
scripted and all that
quick
shit.
throw up here. But you can see,
Which
based
is
off
why I
of
don't
how
have any
leaderboards are,
scripted
there is
content
an
right now.
overall leaderboard. For players,
Which sucks.
but then you can you have the ability of actually being able to
Well, what you gonna do, man?
filter by class, so you can see where you are within your own class.
Yeah, so
what you
each
gonna
class
do?
does have a unique ladder, and that's those first 5
Like,
icons. you see right
realistically,
there
I should be spending
represent
all my
each of those
extra money
classes if
doing
you're
that,
playing
which I am
solo.
spending some of
And
it.
that was really important to us because we were
But
talking
the rest
about
of it,
that,
I should
that
be
component
spending
of fairness that we want,
in time as
to make
well.
sure that the competition is a level
In doing
playing
that,
field. We understand that a ball
So I
lightning
kinda wanna
sword,
buy
for
another car.
example,
I want to buy another
probably
computer.
shouldn't be compared to
fuck.
a
Which
rogue
means I gotta
or
work during the
something
day.
like that.
It's
And
bullshit.
so we allow each
a
class
vicious circle.
to compete independently. And then there are also ladders for each of the different party sizes, because obviously a 4-person party probably is going to be able
It's
to
a
cover more
vicious
ground than a
circle.
2-person party.
Vicious.
And so that actually creates 8 ladders with leaderboards right there. And then we also multiply that by 2 because we have separate ladders for our hardcore players, because they are, well, they're competing on hardcore mode. They should get their own ladders.
Exactly.
And then we also have filters and leaderboards for the different platforms.
Yeah, so you can actually compare yourself. If you're playing on Xbox, you can compare yourself to other players on
Yep.
Xbox. Same thing for PC, which is great to see. Like we had the option of being able to kind of really filter out and see where
Well,
we
hopefully
stack
this
against other
PC
players
lasts
in the
long enough for me
And
to
that
get a
all
new
gets
one.
rolled up
before
into
it
a
dies.
global leaderboard as well. And
And
all
I
of those
don't have to
leaderboards
play
we
on
mentioned, you are
PlayStation.
also able to filter by friend and by clan.
Which,
if
I
you
mean,
want to
wasn't
be able
horrible,
just
but
to see the people
inventory
you're familiar
management
with
wise,
and not
it's just
compete
fucking
with,
kind of a
kind
nightmare.
of the community
It
at
fucks with
large.
my
so
OCD.
it's catered and customized to like allow players to
big
actually
time.
really get into like almost like a granular
'Cause I
type
really-
of look of how they may compete against.
I guess
you know, just
maybe
maybe everyone, or
is
maybe
it
just
OCD?
everyone on
It's I
Xbox,
just
or maybe
enjoy
just your
organizing, I
friends, or
guess.
maybe just people in your clan,
And
which
not
is
being
really
able
cool
to
see.
organize the way I want is fucking
And of
painful.
course, with leaderboards and
Painful.
tackling leaderboards, as you mentioned, it is a separate dungeon. There are kind of rewards associated with leaderboards.
That's
well.
right. So
You have ranked up. We have
be
here.
straight up here, though.
Seal of the Iron Willed. Trial complete. You have ranked up. You get rewards. Monsters killed 34, killed 4 bosses. 12,275 to reach Seal of the Worthy. You got to get 12,275 more than the 87, or you just need to play again and get at least 12,275. I wonder how that works.
The ultimate reward of a leaderboard is glory and bragging rights.
Exactly.
And so, only the top 1,000 players during a week are going to be able to get on the leaderboards. And it's
1,000,
going to
huh?
be a pretty big accomplishment, but we got to do a little bit better than that. And so not only do we have the weekly leaderboards, we have the Hall of the Ancients, which is the top 10 players from every ladder each week get written to the Hall of the Ancients. Now, unlike the weekly leaderboard, the Hall of the Ancients don't reset. And so that is a permanent record of everyone who is the best of the best each week.
As long as you
each
keep
season,
this mechanic
and
in the
it's not
game,
gonna
it's
ever get
permanent.
erased, going to be there forevermore.
So yeah, you always
Yeah.
have bragging rights if you ever want
Yep.
to show to other
Unless-
people.
unless
like,
the gauntlet
even if
is just
you
fucking
come back like in a later
unplayable
season
and
or
they
something,
scrap
you
it
can always be like,
completely.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
Then who
type
the
of
fuck
thing, yeah.
cares?
But we've got some additional rewards too. We've got some neat cosmetics for folks who, maybe don't hit the Hall of the Ancients, but they hit another threshold on the leaderboards. And we've also introduced
Okay, that's
another
good.
type of reward called seals. Now, I like to think of myself like I could compete, but I know better than that. I am never going to be ranking on those leaderboards ever. And so the seals are meant for players, frankly, like me, who just, not ready for the leaderboards yet. And so what the seals are is, let me describe it this way. So we've got that ladder we were describing, right? And each rung of that ladder is going to have a seal associated with it. And so as you get better and better each week for that gauntlet, you're going to be able to earn seals and start ranking up in terms of the seals that you have. And
Okay.
It's going to go from kind of, I believe it's called Seal of the Blooded, which is the baseline, all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. And once you hit Seal of the Worthy, now you're ready, according to the game, to be able to compete in the leaderboards. So for myself, I'm probably just going to be trying to get Seal of the Worthy each week. But it's going to be
I'm right
pretty
there
cool.
with you.
Seal of the Worthy is still something that's pretty cool that you can display to other players to let them know that,
How?
you're still
Where?
pretty good at the leaderboards. It's just maybe you're not on the leaderboard itself.
I believe in you, Dan.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Yeah, belief is great, but I know my limits. So,
Yeah, so
Action speaks
lots
louder
lots
than
of cool
words,
stuff for
right,
season
Dan?
3. Gauntlet being a huge part of it. As we mentioned right at the beginning, that Gauntlet won't be at the start of the season, but we do plan. It is a season 3 thing. It is coming in season
Yes.
3. We just want to make sure that players can actually grow their characters at the beginning of season 3. It's not like a speed run type of thing, just to jump
Yeah.
into Gauntlet, especially on the first week of Gauntlet, if we were to have it with the launch of the actual season. So players will hear more news about when Gauntlet actually hits really, really soon.
I mean, that
We'll
makes
have
sense, but you're going to
information
have
on
a
that,
bunch
and
of
we'll be
the
sharing that with
fucking
players.
assholes
But
that will
thank you
actually
guys
be
for-
on the
for
leaderboard.
sharing a
Like,
little bit about some of those season
Absolutely.
3 components.
being
Of course,
disappointed
with
until it's
season-
lost
a new
because
season, there
they'll all
are,
have
there's a
level
new season
100
journey,
characters in the
and
first
there is a
week.
new battle pass. There's a lot of
then they're stuck waiting
feedback that
like
we got from
a month
players
and a
some
half.
data that we actually saw from players related to season journey and some optimizations that we've kind of made to make it a little bit more friendly, a little bit better for players specifically. I know one big thing that we ended up hitting on specifically was, for instance, like one of the components for season journey last season was like, hey, you need to kill 10 people in PvP, which made it a little difficult for some people, and we even saw that in some of our data.
Oh, did you didn't have to do that?
No, we were
just had to
looking
go
over the
collect
data.
dust.
We're listening to your feedback, and
I fought one
PvP
person in
objectives
PvP
just aren't
as a
that
druid,
popular. And so,
and it was a draw
because we're
because it was
always
a
keeping an
barbarian,
eye
and neither
on,
one of us
you know,
could kill each
improving
other.
the game
It
and
was
improving the
fucking stupid.
objectives for the season journey.
I fought him for
we
like 5
decided
minutes.
to modify some of the PvP objectives
And I
that
like at the
exist.
beginning,
And
I
then
almost
there's
had
one
him
in
dead
particular
because
that
he
we
was
ripped
not
out. It
prepared with
just
all
had
for
such a
all
low
the shit that I
completion
had.
rate.
But
So
then he
yeah, there's
figured
been
it out, and-
optimizations based off of
and it
player
was just a
feedback and
draw.
of course data that
You
we've
could
seen from
definitely
that.
not kill me.
And
though.
then I know that one big thing is like some of the rewards associated with season
A
journey.
polarized druid is
we
fucking
kind of
super
amped them
tanky.
up a little
Yeah,
bit
no,
specifically.
it's super important for us to make sure that the season journey is rewarding. I mean, it's one of the backbones of our season, and if folks feel as if they're not compelled to, you know, go in,
Especially
and
with
participate, then
metamorphosis.
that's a miss for us. So, you know, we went back and really took a close look at the rewards and amped them up in a couple of key ways. The first way we amped them up is we made sure that it was a good vehicle for earning some of those governing stones and tuning stones we talked about.
Well, that's good.
And so you actually get an advanced look for some of those governing and tuning stones if you play the season journey. And so you'll get the drops a little bit sooner, and that'll give you a little more of a leg up with speccing out your Seneschal. The other thing we did is we looked at those later chapters, you know, Champion and Slayer and Destroyer. And we said, wow, those still don't feel rewarding
they were
enough.
fucking
I mean,
horrible.
we're asking players to do
You
a
didn't
lot
get
there.
shit.
We're asking them to go
And
into
by the time
boss
you got
ladder,
there,
defeat
there's no point
bosses,
for getting XP.
you know, really invest a
gold
lot of
is
time. So we wanted
fine,
to make
but
sure those rewards felt meaty.
the gear
And
was
so we
fucking
added
horrible.
a number of ancestral legendaries there, including some that are 925 eye power.
Nice.
So hopefully, hopefully that will be something that folks will really enjoy, and you know, get more folks, you know, wanting to take that journey with
Good.
the season.
Also, something slightly related to season
I like.
journey and feedback is we got some feedback that previously for our quest lines, you had to complete certain levels of season journey to even
Yep.
progress in the quest line. Got a lot of feedback. People
Yeah,
didn't like it.
that's
don't want
kind of
people not to
restricting.
feel good with it. So starting season 3, you can just do it start to finish. There's no season journey.
Yeah, I like
break.
that better.
Yep.
Like
Very
So
you do it
it's
as fast
no
as you
longer
want
says
instead
level
of
up
being
to, you know,
restricted by a
chapter 3
level.
of the season journey.
Yeah,
you
most
can-
definitely. Yeah, it's and again, community feedback has been so helpful for us, especially as we have been iterating on seasons and going from season to season. So it's been super great. Another big thing that's coming with at least season 3 is it's a cosmetic that I think a lot of players have been looking forward to. First, actually, let's actually jump into all this. Actually, can you throw that graphic back up? There we go. Yeah, so there a lot new cosmetics coming. One big
It's a
thing
cool
I know
looking
that
horse.
was really popular with season 2 was the town portal
Yeah,
skins.
love those town portals.
Everyone is rolling with the blood portal. I am not
I'm
rolling
not.
with the blood
I
portal.
don't like the blood
I'm
portal.
like the one person that's rolling with like the angelic wings one.
Me too. I'm the other one.
If there's other people like that,
I like angelic
shout out
wings.
to those people. You're part
You're
of
my boy,
crew.
Adam. You're
but
my
there
boy.
are also cool new skins and of course new emotes that are coming with the new premium
So there's
battle
a
pass
barbed sword.
for season 3. And then one item that I think we
There's 2
actually haven't
swords.
really added to since launch is emblems specifically. Emblems are kind of like on your character title
Yes,
or
meh.
on your character
It's
on
like fucking-
the character bar for your screen.
I don't know.
I
If
have
there were
been
more, it would
rocking
be
the Trio
better.
Whispers
I'm
one for a
not
long
gonna
time. I'm
lie.
going to put it into retirement.
You can't even
because
see them in
we
your
are
character
adding
selection
new
screen,
ones
though.
here.
They
I
should
believe
be
we're
there, too.
adding,
Like, why are they
I
not
think
there?
it's 3, I believe.
Yeah,
for this
so
season.
you will get 2 new emblems per your adventures in the season journey, and then 3 through the battle pass.
Awesome. So yeah, we're adding in emblems. I know that's something that people were
So
asking about
5
because we've
emblems.
always had the
Okay.
3 at launch,
Yep.
and so this now gives you the opportunity of actually
I mean,
collecting
it's
additional
better
emblems
than-
in season 3, and of course, season
Than
blessings
what?
Yes.
are also getting adjusted for the new
I
season
don't know.
because I
It's
know
fine.
with the last season of
It's
course,
not
they were specifically catered
a
towards Season
worthless
Flood.
item like
This one is, of course, being
souvenirs
updated
are
for
in
Season
Overwatch.
3, including items that affect like tuning stones, for instance,
Yep.
specifically for players. So Season Blessings will be getting updated for
So
this
no
new
more
season.
sprint speed.
And then I know that one
What else
thing
is not
that
there?
people, and something I mentioned
Obviously,
in
the
the beginning,
Season
which
2
is
ones are not,
the
but
boss ladder
no more
items,
sprint
that
speed. That
is
kinda
most
sucks.
definitely coming back for Season 3, so players can expect to have the opportunity of being able to tackle through the boss ladder. And we actually do have some optimizations that we'll be talking about here really shortly related to being able to jump into boss ladders. So yeah, lots of stuff for Season 3.
Yes.
Lots of
Tons
stuff.
of stuff for Season 3.
Yeah.
Biggest season yet for Diablo 4. And you know, we covered a lot. I'm looking forward to people jumping in. It begins on January 23rd, where players will be able to actually jump in and create new characters for the season. So Dan, Madeline, thank you guys so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then I know for the next part of our broadcast, we're actually going to use some amazing tech. First time
Oh, it's
we're
called
doing
the
this
internet.
because we now have two different sets. One here in Albany, which is themed like Cathedral of Light. You know, we're in
Yep.
a colder environment. It is cold outside in Albany. I'm not used to that as a California person.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I landed lots of snow. But it's like Cathedral of Light, Fractured Peaks, you
Yep.
know, kind of feeling. And of course, we'll be going to Irvine, where we're in like the, I hate to say the bits of hell. Irvine is not like hell, I promise. I've lived there. But our studio is like that. And that we are going to be joined by Adam Jackson. Adam, hopefully you're there. There you are. Hello.
I
Hey,
think I
I
like
hope you
this
can
set
hear
better.
Me. I'm always paranoid.
I can hear you
Perfect.
live from Irvine.
Cool.
And, Adam, you know, they always call it the Adam and Adam show whenever you and I are on. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the balance changes coming with Season 3 and what players can expect.
Why
And
is
a little
my
bit about
quality-
some of the philosophy as well of
Shit.
what you have kind of, or what you want to actually present to the players of what they can expect
It's weird.
going forward, especially with Gauntlet being involved.
Looks like
So
shit on
you
my
wanna,
screen.
take it away?
Yeah, totally. Got lots to talk about today, so I'm pretty excited.
3 topics.
So I'm really going to be going over 3 different major topics today when we talk about what's coming in for Season 3 and beyond. So the first one is, I think, what everybody expects. We have some new class updates coming. A little bit of a caveat here, though. I'm not going to be going over every single note or every single update, but I am going to give you kind of a high level of what's coming for every class. But you'll definitely find out some more stuff when you look into the patch notes and see other
I
things
feel like
we're
that's
doing.
tomorrow, right?
And patch notes are going to be coming out very soon, like tomorrow. Is my
Tomorrow,
understanding.
actually,
So
yeah. They're
Yeah.
coming out tomorrow, so players can expect to see
Score.
them tomorrow.
So
We'll give you a
tomorrow,
preview today, but
tomorrow's
you'll see the
Friday,
full
so
patch
we
notes
won't be
tomorrow.
doing it. But next,
Correct. So it'll be a preview,
Play
but you'll
session.
still get an idea of kind of what we're thinking and what we're
which
doing.
will hopefully be
Next, I want to do a brief explanation of kind of how
Saturday?
we currently view
I
class
hope.
balance. You know, the game's gone through a
I don't
lot.
know, though,
We've been
like,
out for a little
we-
while. We also have the
We'll see.
gauntlet
We'll see how
coming.
tonight goes.
So, you know, a
if
lot of
there's
changes
enough
coming,
to
and we're
continue
going
to
to be
do
adapting
with
to
the
it.
sorceress,
And then the last thing is kind of a roadmap for our plans for
we'll see
seasonal
if we
updates
play
going
Saturday,
forward.
play
I
Diablo
kind of want
Saturday
to
and
give
Sunday, or
people
we
some
can
more
just play
concrete
Overwatch. We'll see.
ideas of when we
And
update
Monday.
and how we update. So first, we're going to start with the class updates. So
Another
first,
thing
for the
I gotta do
Barbarian,
is
we
clean
got a
out my
few things going
inventory.
on. The first one is some big improvements to Charge. You know, right now Charge is, you know, you need a bunch of different legendaries and other
Moving
effects to
power
make
to the
it really
baseline
kind of
skill
seen and be
from
powerful.
legendaries
And we're going to be
and
moving a
other
lot of
effects.
power
It's
to the
going to do a
baseline
lot
skill
more
from
damage now.
legendaries
We
and
might
other
be
effects.
crazy. Okay,
It's
so
going to do a
charge
lot more
barbarian
damage
then.
now than it did before. We
like
might
you're
be
gonna be trying
insane,
charge.
but I think it's really cool, and so we're going to do it. But you can see here, kind of Season 2, what the damage numbers look like. You know, did like 1,200, and then Season 3, it's like 12,000. So, you know, like 8x or something like that. So it's going to do a lot of damage now, baseline. Of course, legendaries are adjusted to compensate, but yeah, you should have a lot more fun with it out the gate. We're also doing a lot of
Walking
buffs to key
Arsenal.
passives, such as Walking Arsenal, to kind of keep them up to date with the one that most people pick, that shall not be named. And then also we're adjusting a lot of shouts. You know, we got a lot of feedback that players don't really like feeling kind of mandatory that they
make
put all
having
the different
multiple
shouts on their
shouts on
bar.
your
I
bar
played a
feel
Barbarian
like
last
less of a
season. I know how it
requirement, but
feels.
keep it as an
So we're
option.
trying to kind of walk this line where we want it to be fun and you can put all the shouts on your bar, but it's not required and you kind of feel like there's good reasons not to.
So shouts
we've
are
done
gonna be
some
nerfed.
changes there.
Or all the things are going to be buffed.
And, you know, if I
mean,
were a
if they're
betting
not
man,
nerfed,
I'd
then
say I'd
everybody's still
put
gonna
my
use 'em.
money into, you know, Charge and maybe some key passives as far as things that I think you'll be happy to see. So I think you'll be kind of happy.
So
with
there's
our
going to be a
changes
key
there.
You know,
passive
Adam,
that
whenever
buffs
we have
charge
you
too.
on, you have to talk about class stonks, and this is
I
class
do like my
stonks.
stonks.
Yes.
So next, let's go over to the sorcerer. Again, these aren't all the changes; these are just high-level stuff. First one
the
is, you know,
spear,
we know
critical
that sorcerer
strikes
players
now
have kind
have
of
the
had some
ability to
pain
make
trying to
enemies
apply
vulnerable.
vulnerable to enemies, so we're giving it to
I mean,
lightning
last
spear
season
now.
I didn't have
So
a
just
problem.
baseline lightning spear when it
You
crits
just
enemies
use
will
that
now make them vulnerable.
vampiric
So
power
you have
and
another
everything's
avenue
fucking
to,
vulnerable.
Frost Nova to consistently apply it. We also have some buffs to various Paragon legendary nodes that you can look forward to that kind of open up or make some things stronger. And last but not least, for you Meteor fans, Meteor build is getting quite a few
So then
updates and
I'm
buffs
gonna play
across the
Fire
board.
and Meteor.
We also are giving giving them
Fireball,
a new unique
Meteor,
that kind of changes how you think about it and how it
in
plays. That I'll be
Season 3.
showing off in a little bit. So
Can't wait to see it. It's so good.
Perfect.
It's so good.
yeah, totally. So again, here Meteor players and Elemental Summoner players, like the ones that like to use the different conjurations. We got some
No,
stuff.
Ice
there in the
Blades suck,
legendaries-
man.
or the
So unless they
Paragon
do something crazy,
legendary node space, that should make you happy.
nobody's gonna use that shit. Hydra's
And next
great
we've
though.
got the Rogue. So we've got quite a few changes coming to the Rogue. There's a lot of buffs to really underuse skill and skill upgrades. You know, a lot of people use, Twisting Blades and Poison Imbue and things like that. And we're really targeting some of the things that people aren't using so much and giving them some love. In particular, we're targeting range builds to make them more viable and fun. I think it's the Precision Key passive is getting a bit of a rework, and a lot of stuff coming for things like Penetrating Shot and stuff like that. And we're also updating pretty much all the range uniques, including Windforce, Skyhunter, and Eaglehorn. They're going to be
Caltrops, huh?
quite a bit more usable and powerful, I think.
I'm not gonna play
so
Rogue
here,
at all.
again, some buffs coming really to range builds
Not
in
at all.
general, and also Caltrops, which is a bit of an underused skill that we're giving some love.
I enjoyed my Rogue
And then we've got
playthrough,
the
but,
Druid next.
I'm not gonna
So
play one
here
again
we've
for a
got some
while.
buffs coming to various spirit boons that aren't seen as much play as others. As an example, Prickle Skin is the one that gives you some
Like, I
thorns.
don't know, like
The amount there is being increased by a lot.
played
you
a-
can see here
a-
in season 2,
Druid
it's about
and
300 at this
I didn't
level.
use fucking
And then
thorns.
season 3, I think it's doing about 4x
I could
what
see
it used
maybe
to.
using thorns
so,
as a barb.
some big buffs
maybe?
coming to various spirit
But-
boons that are underused.
I don't know.
And then
that's a
also
buff to
Rabies
Druid,
is
not to
getting quite
Barb.
a few upgrades. We got a new legendary coming in for Rabies. That's pretty neat. And then we also
There's
have
a
buff
nice
for
Rabies
enhanced
build that you
Rabies.
can
So
make.
for all of you that love spreading your poisons among
I enjoyed
enemies,
using
you're
Rabies
gonna
for a little
be
bit.
a little bit happy in season 3.
It was nice.
So here again, we got some buffs. I put
Some
Rabies
Lightning
here, but
Storm.
also Lightning Storm, and we'll be showing off a new unique there too. I'm actually probably going to play Lightning Storm in season 3 because it's got a really cool unique coming that we're going to. So you'll have that
It's a
to look forward
channeling
to.
skill though.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to show these uniques. I think people are gonna probably cater their builds for those classes to some of those uniques.
And they're pretty. I mean, we have uniques coming for every class. We're just going to be
Yeah.
showing those 2 off today. Again, not everything, but they're pretty cool. Last but not least, we've got Necromancer. So Blood and Iron Golems. So fun fact for those of you who didn't know, but the Bone Golem, when it attacks
know, like,
enemies with its
who-
normal attack, it actually cleaves
I
and
don't
hits
know.
nearby enemies. And the Blood and Iron
I feel
Golems
like
didn't, and they were very
instead of
jealous
having
and unhappy.
skeletons, I would
And
use
so we
a
just decided to
golem.
give it to them. So now all your golems,
I
your
don't
golem
like.
friends are
I
gonna
played a
AoE
Necromancer in the
attack.
beta, and that's it.
I didn't put in a note here, but
I
also
haven't
just
spent
golems in
any
general are
time on
getting some
Necro
buffs, and I think even some other mini
whatsoever
buffs
since
across
the beta.
board. But you can see
It
those
was
in the patch
fun, but
notes.
it solidified
And
that
then
it was my
quality of life change
gonna
coming
be
is
my
that
fourth
Bone
playthrough.
Prison, friendly players and your
fifth,
minions
sorry.
can now move through them. We've seen some
That's nice
situations. I know
because
I've
that
played
was
it
fucking
where you'll
horrible.
bone prison an enemy in
oh
your
my
minion
God,
build, and
getting
then your
stuck
minions
or
actually can't
blocked
get to
off
the
by a
enemy,
bone
or
prison?
they want to go somewhere else, and the bone
Talk
prison
about a
actually blocks
shitty
them.
fucking
So now you and your
feeling
friends
and
will just be
mechanic.
able to go
Holy
through it.
shit, man.
It'll be a lot more usable.
That was very dissatisfying.
And then we got a lot of
Getting
Bone
stuck in
Spirit
some dude's
upgrades,
bone prison.
including a redesign of one of the aspects, which is the
You
aspect
couldn't
of
do
Sword and
anything or
Curse.
to
I
get
think
out of
Bone
it.
Spirit players are going to be really happy.
Well, I guess you could have used one of your
So you can see
unstoppable.
here on the left is kind of the
cooldowns, but
old version of Bone Spirit, and it
bullshit.
basically dealt increased damage based on distance traveled. And the gameplay there was you want to be kind of far away from your enemy and then let it slowly creep towards them. It would do more damage. But it turns out Bone Spirit players really just kind of shotgun it and try and get next to enemies, so it wasn't really very usable or good.
Bone
most of the
Spirit's
time.
critical strike
So
chance
now
is
we
increased.
change it where this
mean, that-
legendary gives you everything a Bone
that's
Spirit
crazy.
player would want. You get more
That
crit chance on Bone
is kinda
Spirit, which means
crazy.
its CDR goes down thanks to its
Bone
upgrades.
Spirit, Necro
And then
is gonna
when you
be
hit enemies, your
even
max
better.
essence is temporarily increased, which means more damage on Bone Spirit. So this really just kind of gives you everything that you want.
everything.
And so here again, we got some buffs coming to Bone Spirit and to Golems for the Necromancers. So if you use either of those, I think you'll be eating pretty well this season. And again, these are just some examples. We got a lot more stuff in the patch notes for everybody. Next, let's go over the couple of new uniques. So the first one is that meteor one I talked about. So this unique
I'm
is
gonna
the
use that.
Starfall coordinate. It basically being like a spender skill into a charge-based skill. So now you can actually run meteor with other things like fireball or incinerate or firewall, and it makes it into a very powerful cooldown-based
Fireball.
skill that summons a bunch of meteors. It also synergizes with your enchantment.
Meteor now has
And
2
you basically
charges
just
with a
drop a lot more
9.5
meteors
second
on,
charge
around like carpet
cooldown
bombing enemies.
instead of a
with them.
mana
It's
cost and
pretty
drops
awesome.
3 additional meteors around the target. Meteors.
And then the next one is the new Druid unique. This is for Lightning Storm. Next, let's go over the couple of new.
Meteor's enchantment effect and enhanced meteor drop 1 additional meteor. So then you get. How many do you get? What is it? What else? What does it have too? Maximum life. It's nice. Cooldown reduction is nice. 4 ranks of meteor and dude, a shit ton of lucky hit chance. Holy fuck. Is that lucky hit chance? That's not just for meteor. That's like holy shit. 24.8. What the fuck? This is not an Uber unique either because that max life is not maxed. And neither is the cooldown.
So the first one is that meteor one I talked about. So this unique is the Starfall coordinate. It basically
How many is
being
that?
like a spender skill into a charge-based
like-
skill.
it looked
so
like
now
it was
you can actually
5.
run meteor with other things like
So you get
fireball
3
or
by
incinerate
default
or
and then 1
firewall,
additional one.
and it makes it into a very powerful
2 additional.
cooldown-based skill that summons a bunch of meteors. It also synergizes with your
I
enchantment.
like.
And you basically just drop a lot more meteors.
We're gonna be a fire
around, like,
sorceress
carpet
this
bombing
season.
enemies with them. It's pretty awesome. And then the next one is the new Druid unique. This is for Lightning Storm.
What do we have here? Unsung ascetic wraps. Critical strike chance. This is on gloves. Yeah, critical strike chance is a max of 12. That's where it always has been. You can get 4 ranks of Lightning Storm, 3 ranks of Defiance passive, and 24.8 lucky hit you. Jesus Christ. Lightning Storm gains 1 additional strike each time it grows. Dude, whoever's writing the copy for this for you guys is not doing great with the editing. Each time it grows, Lightning Storm critical strikes cause lightning to strike twice, dealing 13 up to 20% increased damage. Really?
Basically, what this does is it makes your Lightning Storm grow quicker, so you can get up to that maximum amount. I think it's 5, 4 or 5 stacks really quickly. And then also, when your Lightning Bolts crit, an additional Lightning Bolt will come down and do more damage. And that additional Lightning Bolt also, it's still a Lightning Storm Lightning Bolt. So you get all of your synergies with all of your
Like,
other effects.
why
so
would
basically,
you-
it turns into lightning everywhere. Is just pretty cool when you combine it with all of the
Why would you werewolf at
lightning-based
all?
legendaries
You
and
just
stuff.
stay in that.
Next,
Channel it and
now that we're done with the
fucking
class updates, I kind of want to
melt
talk a little
shit.
bit about how we've been viewing class balance and how we're going to be thinking about going forward in Season 3 and beyond.
Unless you have Crone.
So one of the things that we've been talking about a lot on the team is kind of thinking about how should we be updating the game when it comes to buffing and nerfing classes
Does
and builds,
Lightning
and then
Storm
also how often
and
should
Crone
we
make
update it?
sense though?
And I kind of want to get a little into the weeds here to
don't know.
understand where we're coming from.
I don't know.
So first is that we want to balance kind of 2 competing concepts that are always at odds with each other that we believe players want that really make for a fun game and a fun experience, particularly in Diablo 4. But this is honestly kind of true for most games as far as
It's true
when
for
they
every game.
update when it comes to balance.
You want to make the
So
game
the
fun.
first one is we believe that players really want to feel like you all can have
Yeah,
fun
for
with
sure. That's
powerful
every
builds
game.
that you discover. Kind of a core part of playing these games is you think outside the box, or you
Even if
discover
it's like
something, or
a
maybe even you
FPS
follow a
game.
guide.
Y-
But
you
you
wanna
find
make
something
a
that's really
build,
cool
you
and
wanna
awesome, and then you want to
do
go
your
wreck
setup.
demons
You
and,
want to
kill
choose a
stuff with it,
character
right?
that
You
makes you
wanna
feel powerful.
feel like you have this sense of permanence
that's-
where you can make something, it's going to
That's
be cool,
one
and you
of
can
the
go
fun
and have fun
components
with
of
it.
playing video games.
But then on the flip side, here we also believe that players want the meta to refresh, so that the same things aren't obviously the best choices forever.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
Looking back at Season 2,
You don't wanna
easy
play the
thing to
same thing
point to is Ball
forever.
Lightning, right?
You want
Ball lightning was
fresh,
really fun and
new-
awesome.
you want
Newsflash,
that
it was
new
also
new.
kind of bugged.
That's why I want a new car.
But
already.
during season 2,
I want
a
that
lot of
new
people had
man.
a lot of fun with it. But we believe that if we just kept things like Ball Lightning or Hoda Barb or these things that are really powerful for many seasons over and over, not only Sorcerer players in the case of Ball Lightning, but even players of other classes would start to feel this kind of gravitational pull and a lot of pressure to play the things that are obviously more powerful than other things. And then players would start to feel pigeonholed into being forced to play very specific things. And so kind of this dichotomy of these two competing factors where you want to have a sense of permanence and finding things and having fun and not being afraid that Blizzard's going to take it away from you. But you also want to have a sense of, the same thing isn't strong forever. And you look at the leaderboards or you look on forums or wherever you look for your feedback, and everybody just is playing the same things, and you feel like not everything is viable, right? So in this vein, some of the larger changes that you're going to see in Season 3 that are kind of bug fixes or nerfs, and before a lot during BlizzCon, and
Ball
before
lightning
we
goes
talked about how
away.
you want to give players a heads up of
Rogue
what's
extra
coming.
combo points goes
So these are the
away.
things you're going to see
Twisting
at the
blades
launch
goes
of Season 3
away.
that are kind of they're having
The
their power
blurred
lowered.
beast
The first one
aspect
is the Ball Lightning
redesign.
enchantment, or enhancement, sorry, is
I
causing
don't
it
remember
to
that.
deal too much
Violent
damage,
hammer
obviously.
goes away.
The rogues,
And overpower.
rogues
So
have
we're
also
not
been getting
playing an
extra combo
overpowered barb.
points
We're
via
gonna
very
play
specific unique
probably
interactions. That's made them very powerful.
charge and
Twisting
what
blades
is that
again
gonna
on the
do?
rogue and
Like
poison if you have
vulnerable
had
or
some
bleed?
interactions that
Probably
we're cleaning
bleed.
up that makes it do more damage
Can you
than
apply
was
bleed to
intended.
charge?
The druid very recently kind of climbed to the top of the power level in the game due to kind of an unfortunate interaction with blurred beasts.
So
where
Hammer the
you can
Ancients is
double dip
going away then.
damage. And really, we've had a couple cases like this earlier
Which is
in the game.
unfortunate because
So
that
we're
was fun.
redesigning this
That,
legendary
like
power.
the 24
Where,
levels that I
you can
played
kind
with
of
my
apply a dot
barbarian and
or some effect, and then something else does damage
preseason.
based on the dot or something.
That was fun. It was
Dealing
fun
damage on
in
something
beta
else, and
too.
then that damage double dips and then just goes into crazy town really quick. So we're nipping that in the bud.
Goes into crazy
For the
town.
barbarian, the hammer of the ancients, the violent hammer of the ancients, which is one of the upgrades that you can get, was always being
Which time
applied
we got
whether or
left?
not
We
you
got
had it, and we're cleaning that up. So basically, everybody would always take
45
another upgrade,
minutes.
and then they were getting both. And then overpower. This is more of an oversight, not a bug, but it was kind of just too strong in general. If you remember when season 2 launched,
So they
redid
nerfed
all
the
the combat
vulnerable
math in the
already.
game, and back then overpower.
Now they're gonna
nobody
nerf
was really playing
overpower.
it. And then we really wanted to give it some love, and we definitely did. So
What's left?
it's a little
Crit?
bit too strong right now, and so it's just getting toned down.
Everybody's gonna focus on crit then.
And now next I want to talk about our season
crit's always
roadmap,
good.
kind of,
Like,
when we were talking
more
about how we
damage.
think about how often we should update
Like
the
I
game,
have
update the game,
close to
but we wanted to let
50%
you, the
crit chance
community,
with the
know kind of what
sorceress.
the conclusions
fucking
we came
great.
to and what we're going to be doing. So right now our plan is to update the game twice per season when it comes to class balance.
2 updates
and
per
really just
season.
class updates. We're going to do
I mean,
one update at the launch of a season.
As
where
long
you're
as
gonna
they
see
have
more kind of
updates
large-scale things
slotted in
that
there
is kind of
for
expected to shift a little more.
bug
And
fixes
then we
that
also plan
are
to do a mid-season
like
update, and that'll come
critical
somewhere
to
around the
gameplay
center of the season,
and
depending on the exact dates of patch cycle. So you'll get a little bit
what else?
smaller of an update there, but still
Small
something that'll
little like
do a bunch of
additions
buffs
to
or
the
go into detail
season,
of what you can expect from
like they did with. I mean,
So
it's,
first let's talk about
Avatar
season
wasn't
launch,
small,
what you
but
can expect when a new
or
season comes
Midwinter's
when it comes
Blade
to
wasn't
classes and
small either.
system.
But as long as they're
balance.
adding things, like at some point, like
So the first
mid-season
thing
is a
is we're
great
going to
time
be
to
giving
add
you some new
something, and
content.
that's going to
You
be
can count on
gauntlet.
this. We're going to
The
be giving
end
new
of the season
legendaries
is,
and uniques that are
or
added
close
to
to
the
it,
game.
is another
The
great time to
amount
add
that
like
we
a
do
little
can
mini
be
event or
variable, but
something.
what we can commit to
It
is
would
that
be nice
every
to have
class
a
should
mini
be getting
event like
something new in this space. So you can expect some amount
a
of new
quarter of the
legendaries,
way through the
some
season.
amount
So
of
you
new
have
uniques that'll give you
season,
new toys to play with.
you have a
Next,
mini
there are
event a
balance
quarter of the
updates.
way, you
We'll
have
be doing both
a
balance
major
and
event in the
design
middle,
updates for
and
all
you
the
have another
classes.
mini
And by
event
design updates, I mean,
3/4 of the
some
way.
more
That'd be
in-depth things
great.
where we change around
Keeping things
functionality rather
fresh,
than just
adding
moving
stuff,
numbers up and
making
down.
people
Again, the amount is
interested in
variable here. It kind of
doing new
depends on
stuff
the
and
needs of the
getting new
game at the
stuff
time
and
and how much other stuff that we're doing.
changing
But
their
as a
stuff.
general idea, just so you can know what to expect, we plan to do many buffs to things that are underperforming, a few nerfs to the things that are really overperforming, and then bug fixes, which can honestly be both buffs or nerfs, depending on what the actual bug is. And then we also plan to do other game updates. You know, our team isn't really only just doing classes. We also look at monster balance and feel. We do systems with drop
Yeah,
rates.
I want
things like that.
want
How quickly players can get
increased.
things that
So
let
it's
them have
nice
access
having
to
a hell tide all the
different,
time.
types of
That was one of the
content,
good
all
things
that.
about Bloody
So you can
Harvest.
expect that at the beginning of a season.
I want
And then
monster
last but not
density
least are
and hell
larger
tides to
updates
be
and
the same
initiatives, right?
as a
These
Bloody
aren't
Harvest.
guaranteed every season, but we want to launch these when they're ready. These are kind of the big
And
things that
the
really
enemies
shake up the game
should
and change
continue
how
to
players
scale to at
fundamentally
least
interact with things.
3, if
An
not 5
example of some
levels
things
higher
here,
than
or a couple things that
that
we
would
did in
be
season 2.
the best.
You know, we updated the resistance math and combat math to the game, and that was kind of a really big change of just how players interact with monsters and how they interact with their gear and stats and how they scale things.
So
But
we'll
we
see how
also
long
do
this
support
lasts.
for
I
other
mean, it's good
things
to
that might
know that
not
this
seem
is
so
the
obvious, like content like
philosophy.
Abattoir of Zir, where we have
But
to
we'll
go
see
and
how
look at
long
the
this
monsters,
lasts.
we have to look at the scaling, we have to when they do these things. So, we support all of those larger updates and initiatives as well, and you can expect these kinds of things going forward in seasons. But again, not every season. Just depends on when it's ready to come out. And next, let's talk about the mid-season patch and kind of what that looks like. So the first thing is we want to bring back previous season fan favorites.
So
One
what are
of
they
the
gonna
nice things
bring
about a
back from
seasonal
season
kind of
2?
model for a game is that we can experiment with
Some
things
kind
and
of
then bring back
vampiric
the things
power
that work.
embedded in a ring.
So an example of where we did this before was the Malignant Reigns. A lot of the Malignant Hearts in Season 1 had really cool designs that people really liked and got attached to. And we were able to bring that back in the form of unique reigns, right? Going forward, we think that the way that we bring back these designs could be legendaries, uniques, or even other ways, right? Like we can maybe just add it as Paragon nodes or passives or actives or other ways, skill tree. We don't really want to be limited to it must always be uniques or it must always
Skill
be
tree,
legendaries. But what we do want to limit ourselves to is that we definitely want to promise that we can do one thing per class. And we also think that we can pull from all seasonal designs, not only from the previous season, right?
Interesting.
If the design of the power mechanic of a season
Like they haven't
doesn't really fit
sunset
into something that's
any
evergreen for players, then we don't want to be
any
limited
legendary
to trying to
aspects,
shoehorn
have
it in.
they?
We may just
I mean,
bring
they've
back,
changed them.
maybe a lot of Malignant Hearts or a lot of Blood Seals.
I don't think they've sunset
People
any of
really
them.
got
though.
attached to. We don't want to be limited to like,
They
we can
haven't
only bring back 4 or
sunset
5
any
things,
abilities,
and then we
skills.
can never bring
They've
more.
changed
So
them.
we're just gonna kind of look like what happened
So
in the
how
past.
like
that
they
people
they
liked
would
and
have
then
to
bring
introduce
some of those
something
things back.
new, Paragon wise,
And then the balance
or
updates, we also want to do this in the mid-season patch. The scope of this will be smaller compared to the beginning of the season. And we also want to do other game updates, like I said before, to monsters, systems, drop rates, and some of those things. We also want to try mix in a lot of buffs for each class. And then we will be doing bug fixes, and these will be both buffs and nerfs. So I'll go into a little more detail of that in a minute. And then we're really going to try and hit this
buffs and
goal.
nerfs,
No
and then
promises.
few no
These are
nerfs.
famous last words for me, but we want to try and do few to no nerfs that really aren't bugs.
Why would you list
And our
nerfs in
kind of
the
thinking and philosophy
bracket
here is that we know
within-
that unlike the beginning of a season,
Okay.
players spent a lot of time farming for these things, and we don't want you to be scared of making powerful stuff and then knowing that we're going to take it away if it's too strong, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
We
feel
want to
good.
have a sense of permanence when you start a season that you can try and target something that's cool and then finish it. But sometimes we need to if something's way too far out of control, particularly now that we have the gauntlet coming in. And our plan is to really broadcast the nerfs, whether they're design or bug fixes, before the mid-season update, so that you have an idea of what's coming, so that you can adjust your builds and play accordingly.
Okay.
So now let's give a couple examples here of kind of, if these things had existed in Season 3 and beyond, how would we think about and how would we handle these in a mid-season patch? So, in Season 2, like I mentioned before, the Hammer of the Ancients, this upgrade, Violent Hammer of the Ancients, was just always being applied, right? Basically, overpower builds were just getting 30% more multiplicative damage for free. It was a bug, not intended at all. This is something that we would fix in a mid-season patch. So, like, if
That's
this happened in
crazy.
Season 3, you could expect that in the mid-season patch, we would bug fix this, and, that would be a nerf to that build. On the other hand, a little bit more complicated one. So if you remember Ossified Essence, you Necromancer players, this was your key passive, and it was really, really, really good. It basically says that your bone skills deal more damage based on each point of essence you have above 50. The gameplay here that we had intended was, you try and increase your mass essence, which is a fun little itemization game that you have. But then you also have some gameplay of trying to only cast and then get back to max as soon as you can. So you care about resource regen. Like, there's all these cool gameplay and itemization things going on. What we didn't anticipate, though, was that players would get as much max essence as they were able to, or that they were able to keep it as high as they were able to. And those were really just oversights on our part. So then in Season 2, we nerfed this by 50%, a whopping 50%. And I still think this is probably one of the strongest key passives in the game. That's how good it was. It's really good. But, it still keeps all the gameplay that it had before.
I mean, that's
So
why
what if this existed
Bone
in
Spear
Season
is so
3?
good. Yeah.
Well, here,
Yeah.
this would kind of be more of a question mark for us.
So what's the answer,
We may
though?
fix it in the
may?
mid-season patch. We would definitely fix it at the start of next season. But technically,
Oh,
this
okay.
isn't a bug. It's just something that is just really strong that we kind of had an oversight about. Here, we would be looking at, community feedback. How badly is it warping the meta? Are other builds in Necromancer really not able to function at all because this one is so much better? We'd be looking at more things
Well,
like
that's
that are
never the case.
qualitative.
It's just whether you
type of
decide
feedback. and then make
to
a judgment
deal
call
with
there.
that
And,
power
in these
difference.
cases, this is where it gets really noodly. Sometimes we may be
Yeah,
wrong.
now that the
We're gonna
gauntlet is
really
going to
try and
exist,
lean on the side of not changing unless
a lot of
we really
people
feel
are
like it's
just
needed
going
to
to
keep the game healthy.
try and play the most powerful build through the
So
gauntlet.
again, kind of a recap, a TLDR. First, our
And
strategy here with
there will be
players is to
people that just
communicate
play
early,
whatever
communicate
build
often.
they
We want to
want.
let you know, particularly
It's
when it comes
fun.
to nerfs, what's coming, and really
And they
what
probably
we're
won't get as
thinking.
far, and they'll be okay with
And then
that.
again, at the start of the season, you can expect some new content in the form of legendaries and uniques.
It's
We'll
like the
also be
same thing
getting
with
some more
Abattoir.
in-depth
Like
balance
just
updates,
getting the
including
level
design
1
updates to things that we feel we can do
realistically
better at.
was sufficient for me.
Lots of
Like I have
buffs, few
no
nerfs, but bug fixes that are both
I have no
buffs and nerfs
drive
to keep the game in a healthy state.
to
And
get
then
to
in the
25.
mid-season patch, you
There's
get new
no
content in the form of
there was
previous
no
fan
level
favorites
of
from other
grinding
seasons.
that was
And then we will
fun
be
enough
doing a balance patch. It'll be a
for
bit
me to
smaller.
force
It'll be mostly
myself
buffs and
to
then
do
bug
that.
fixes that are both buffs and nerfs.
The same thing with
And
the boss
hopefully
ladder.
for you
Like
to know
yeah, it's
design
nice
nerfs,
getting uniques
is what we're going
and
to try and
upgrading
commit
the
to.
uniques that you're
And so
using.
again, the reason why we're doing this is we really want you to know
But
kind of where we're thinking, and we
like
want to
just
try and commit
nonstop
to
grinding
concrete
for
things when we
materials
can.
to do
And
those
this is
uber
something that we
bosses.
feel we can commit to you
That's
as far
not
as
my
what we
idea
bring
of fun.
to
My
Diablo
idea
4
of
going
fun
forward.
is
Again, last
continuing
thing
to
is that
increase
we
my
are open to
power
feedback on this. This isn't set in
by
stone that
doing
forevermore
things
we'll
that
be only
are
doing 2 updates per season when it comes to balance.
enjoyable
We're trying to
and
find
showing
that right
progress in
amount
doing
of
that.
time where you feel
Nightmare
like you can
Dungeons do that.
experiment and have fun, but the
Helltides
same thing isn't
a
strong
little bit,
forever. So, please give us
but
your
like
feedback. Let us know what
Nightmare
you think.
Dungeons also give
But
you
this is how we're going
variety,
to start, and then we're going to go from
where
there. So thank
the
you.
uber bosses are like
Awesome. Thank you so
once
much,
you play them a few
Adam,
times, they're
for
like,
going
well, this
over
is fucking
all the balance changes coming
lame.
for season 3, along with the roadmap.
Like
which is
tonight,
really
watch. I
important.
have some
And so
materials
that's
to
a
go
big
and do
thing
some
that
stuff.
we will
I
make
have
sure
some
we do is
Grigors.
obviously communicate often,
I have
and communicate early,
probably one Beast
specific
and Ice,
about
one
or specifically about all the balance
Zir,
changes
and
that
one
may occur
Varshan.
with the
I'm doing
start of the
tonight,
season, and of course
and I'm
with
gonna
that
destroy the
mid-season
fuck out of
patch.
them now that I
And
have
just
the
for
Tears of Blood.
like better understanding within the
So like
community,
once you get to
follow
that point,
version numbers of our
yeah, it makes it
updates, 'cause
easier,
we
makes it
usually do
faster,
client
but
patches with
it's also
big
fucking boring.
patches. Usually
It
mid-season
is.
patches land around the 0.3 variant of a patch if you want to go specifically in that. We do have a lot of other quality of life items that are also coming within season 3 that we do want to get into before we jump into Q&A.
A lot, huh?
And we did want to tackle some of these because these are really big and these are based off of players and what they're telling us, and of course things and improvements that we've already talked about beforehand that are now actually coming into Diablo 4. One big thing that I know that we mentioned in one of our
For a
prior
chance.
streams with
That's
a
2
Campfire Chat,
words.
Mr. Joe Shelley, our game director, actually brought up, which was Helltides. Helltides was something we learned within Season 2 and Season of Blood is everyone really enjoyed Blood Harvest, and Blood Harvest was always up. Helltides, though, were kind of timed in specific moments, and Helltides was something that we wanted to improve upon for players, and now Helltides will actually be up pretty much all the time, so players will be able to actually jump into Helltides whenever they need to.
So you
there
gotta
is
hope
a 5-minute break to kind of
you gotta
reset the
hope
zone and
that
stuff,
whatever
but,
uniques you're looking
every
for,
hour you will be able
you
to
can get
jump
from Grigor,
into
because
a Helltide, which
Grigor
is great. So it's more
is
opportunities to
a
earn
enjoyable
cinders, and of course
and,
more opportunities to earn and obtain
why is it
loot,
cut
or
off?
even like things like living
It's an
steel and stuff to
enjoyable
kind of go through the
farm.
Uber boss ladder, which is great.
and it
The other
gives you
thing
the
is,
ability
and
to
this
do
is
him
a
a
controversial
decent
topic
amount of
because I don't know
times.
how
Like
people
you can
actually,
do one
pronounce
Grigor
this, but
with one
I've always
300
called it
chest, and you can get
WASD. Other
300
people call it
cinders in like
WASD.
15
Some
minutes.
people call it WASD.
We need
So
a
you can
poll up
technically
for
get
that.
4
I
Grigor
almost want to put a
runs,
poll up
guaranteed.
within Twitch chat. Maybe you guys can chime in here
At
and
the
let
ve-
me know what
at
you
3,
prefer calling it. I'm going to
guaranteed.
call it WASD.
4 if
but
you do
WASD
it right.
controls are coming to Diablo 4. This is actually something we talked about
Every
way
Helltide,
back
that's
at
every
the
hour.
launch of the game.
Whereas
We heard a lot
if you
of
go
players
farm
asking
Whispers,
specifically for additional
you turn them
control,
in, the rewards from the
opportun-
Whispers
or
suck.
options
Doing
for
the
them.
Whispers,
And
for the
this
most part,
actually
sucks
is
because
a
everything
great
is under
feature
level.
that Drew, I know, who's
Unless you do it in a Bloody
on
Harvest
the
or
D4
you
team.
do it in
Shout
a
out to Drew.
Helltide.
I know he's watching. But,
And the rewards
and he's here
suck.
in this office. But
And
but at least for
you're not
WASD,
guaranteed to get
it offers more
the components that you need.
accessibility options for players.
Like I have a shit
which is
ton
great to
more
see.
of
So,
2 of the components
WASD
than I have
controls
of
are gonna
anything
be
else.
in
And
Diablo
I have
4, and this is
like
something
one
we've been
of one of them.
about.
We're
It's
also
like
really lucky
it's
it came
horrible.
online just as we were putting all those hazards.
The
in
Varshan
patch.
is
So,
horrible.
the players have even more precise control to
Yeah.
avoid.
Wazda feels very good with it.
It's
Trek.
WASD.
WASD, however you want to pronounce it.
It's
that is,
WASD.
gonna
Whoever says
be
WAS
in-
doesn't know.
WASD?
Chat likes
Whoever says
WASD according
WASD
to
is
Rich
fucking
It's okay to be
stupid.
wrong.
But yeah, it is coming
People
to the
are,
game.
like,
And what's really great
crazy.
about this as well is that it is customizable. You can actually change things
And
out.
no,
and
that's
stuff
not a
if you'd like.
PC versus console
So
comparison.
really
That's
happy
just
to see it, and we're
mental.
happy to hear feedback from players and their experiences with it once they jump into Season 3. And then, of course, we have
Skill tree respec
new
mode.
respec mode coming to the skill trees.
Yes.
You know, this is
Okay.
Respecing on skill trees has always been a little difficult, and now there's a more
It's not that
optimized
hard.
way of being able to
Like,
do so.
you have a
Another
way
big,
to
community
wipe
item
everything
that a lot
off.
of players have been asking
You have
for.
a way to
This kind of
remove
goes
stuff.
hand in hand with the opportunity
how
of
is it
actually
hard?
taking your whole Paragon board and completely resetting it before, as opposed to doing it one by one that we had beforehand.
It's a lot less finicky now.
What
would
more
be nice
opportunities
here
actually
is to be
respec
able to
and do
save-
it in a much more organized fashion with this.
Save layouts, save loadouts.
And then this has been a huge
all right,
one.
I have
is
this
specifically
this
for
Paragon
console
board,
players.
and I
probably
have
get
this skill
question
tree.
maybe
I
like
want to
once
save
every
that
single
and then
day
come
about
back to
gold
it later,
trading.
and
Obviously,
make
more
it make it a
is
gold
in
cost. Make
the,
it some kind of resource cost to
Diablo
actually be able to
4
do that. save it or to recall it.
Ecosphere
Either way,
with seasons.
that's what would make it better.
And for console users, like trading gold has been very difficult.
That would be fucking great.
It's been slow. Almost, it's.
I don't understand
you
this
could
gold
be there
trading
for
UI
quite a
updates.
while trying to trade a
This is like, 'cause
significant
you have to
amount of
click
gold.
up one
And
for
so
every
the
gold
gold
that
trading
you're trying
UI
to
has
trade.
been updated for console users, so they'll be able to
I've
actually trade
never
gold
once
without
used the
having
fucking
to maybe
trading
spend
mechanism.
5 to 10 minutes doing so. in
Not a
one
single
trade.
time.
So
Like, what-
I know that is a big thing that players have been asking for. So we're happy that's actually being included.
Like, well, what's the? Who cares? You
And
just
then
go
this one is
fucking play the
also
game
kind
and you
of,
get gold.
calling back
You play the game, you
to,
find stuff.
what
Like-
Joe Shelley had brought up in a prior campfire chat.
It
which
seems like
was,
a stupid mechanic to me
higher
anyways.
item scaling in World Tier 4. I think he used a really good example.
I
of
do like
how,
this,
World Bosses was kind of
'cause
like, hey, you get 925 gear off.
the
of them,
only places that
and
you
at
can
times
get
it feels
gear
like
that is
maybe that's, like, the
guaranteed,
most
and it's not
optimized
always
way of
even
doing it,
guaranteed,
and
but
it
it's
didn't feel
more
very
often the
rewarding
probability
in
is
other,
much higher
types of
of
activities,
getting
such as, like,
900
Nightmare
to
Dungeons, for
925
example.
items.
So higher item scaling in World Tier 4
Is World
actually
Boss
coming into
and
Season 3 and
Duriel.
going forward for Diablo
It's the only two
4.
places.
So even
Like,
when you're
you
doing
should be able to
like
get
higher Nightmare Dungeons, you're gonna have way
900s
more
from all of the
opportunities
Uber
of actually
bosses
obtaining
and from high-level
high-level
Nightmare Dungeons.
925
Yeah,
gear,
like, why not?
as opposed to before where it was
Why
it
the
was
hell
a
not?
much lower chance and it felt like you should be doing other types of activities before.
It's like you're easily just
making
fucking
sure that there's more options
marking that
available
shit
as
as
opposed
junk
to just
because you're
kind of
either gonna
pigeonholing
salvage it or
yourself
sell it.
into maybe
You don't even have to
timed
look
role
at it,
bosses and stuff like
depending
that
on where
for
you
that
get it
event.
from, which is sad. Sad
And
and
then this one is
and disappointing.
a point of feedback that we've gotten from a lot of players, and this is something
hell
that
yeah,
like
like,
we
I don't
kind of
even like the Beast
optimized,
Device fight, man.
within
It fucking
Season
freezes
2
the
last
shit out of
year.
you all the
Things like
time. It takes
living
forever.
steel buff based off of community feedback was really big.
I'll destroy
and so
him
we're
now,
actually
but
increasing opportunities to earn the Beast and Ice
and that
summoning items.
that
So,
Nightmare Dungeon
this
should not be
kinda
30. It
goes
should
back to what I was
scale
saying
to whatever
earlier
level you're
in
at.
our stream, where
Or-
with
or
the
be
boss
like
ladder, there will be more opportunities for players to
70.
jump into those. So
Make
there'll
it
be additional
worthwhile.
summoning items for Beast and Ice, which will then, of course, help you eventually get to Uber Duriel. And this goes hand in hand.
How
with
does
some of the
Beast and
living
Ice
steel
help you
buffs
get
that
to
we
Uber
ended up
Duriel?
doing in Season 2 within Helltide.
It has
So
nothing
a
to
lot
do
of
with
quality
Uber
of
Duriel.
life updates, and there's additional ones that players will end up seeing within the patch notes that will be releasing tomorrow. So you should
Beast of Ice doesn't
check
drop
out the patch
anything
notes.
for
They'll
you to be
hitting
able to
on
get to Uber Duriel.
Diablo4.com.
It's
Specifically
Varshan
for
and Greek
all
Guard,
the
that's it.
details and all the items that even Adam Jackson was talking about earlier.
Yeah, baby.
Now we come to the part where I
Q&A.
always mess up names. But
Do we
actually-
care about
actually,
Q&A?
Before we do that,
much time is
I'm
it?
breaking order production. Our
22
wonderful
minutes of
production group here
Q&A?
is going to be like, what's wrong with you, Adam?
No, this is
Um,
closing remarks.
One thing I
in
did want to
20.
call out is we actually have a new promo
22.
for Twitch starting with Season 3, and that is our Support a Streamer promo. We had the Support a Streamer for Season 1.
Support
We
a
have it again
streamer.
for Season 2. It is a
That's
new
a
mount
shitty
that
horse,
players can
though.
actually earn. This
Really?
time it's different.
That's the
Before, we
fucking
only
horse
had
that
a
you get
select
for
group of streamers. I think
donating
it was like
or
around
gifting
like 2,000 streamers
2
that
subs
signed up and opted
as a
in.
$10
Now
horse.
it's for any streamer that streams Diablo 4.
They
Thank
make
you,
it
Twitch,
cool,
for making
man.
the
What the
engineering
fuck?
updates to allow for
Make it
to be just
purple.
across the whole entire
It's just a
category.
fucking plain
Any
brown
streamer that
horse.
is streaming Diablo 4, if you're a
dog
viewer
shit.
and you happen to be watching them, you can either purchase a
That's dog shit.
sub from them or gift a sub, and
Come on,
to
guys.
a total of 2. So it could be 1 gifted, 1
You could have made
purchased, or
you
2
could have made
gifted,
so
and you'll
much.
actually end
Well,
up
wait,
earning
actually, I don't
amounts
know
as
how
well.
the
You just need to make sure
finances
that
work
your
of this
Battle.net
because
account
maybe
is actually linked with your Twitch account, and
Maybe.
you are watching a participating Diablo 4 streamer. It'll
Well,
note
either
it on
way,
their
it wouldn't make a
channels and
difference
stuff,
how it's set up.
for you to
if-
earn that mount. So
if
that is coming.
people
And
gift
there'll be a vlog
subs,
later today
both
about
Twitch
that specific
Blizzard
Twitch supporter
are gonna
streamer
make money.
program that's going to be launching with the start
And
of season 3 on January 23rd. So make sure to
if
check
they
that out.
would have
And I
made a
believe it's actually gonna
badass
be running
horse
for quite a
or a
while,
badass
like
anything,
a month or so.
$10
so players will be able to kind of take
is
part in that
a
from
very,
their
very
end. But
manageable
now our
amount.
favorite part, which
Very
is the
manageable.
Q&A.
And they
we're
would
actually
sell
gonna
a
be going
shit ton
back
of
and
those,
forth
man.
between
They're like,
Irvine and
who
here
cares
in
what the
Albany,
cut
because
is?
Adam
It's
Jackson, of course,
50-50,
is still with
75-25,
us, to answer any
90-10. Doesn't matter.
specific
They
questions
would
related
sell
to
some. They
class
would
and
get
class
so many
balance
more
that
subs.
players may have. But I know one question
I mean, it's nice that it's open to everybody, but
question specifically from
it's a shitty
our
horse.
side and have my
I don't see
live
anybody
feed
clamoring to
here.
get that
I'll
horse.
attempt to not butcher names. Maybe I will.
Especially when the horse in the
Spoilers.
fucking season pass
But,
is badass.
One question that
and
we
you
do
pay
have is
$10 and
how
you
have
get
the
that.
team's thoughts changed in regards to balance since Diablo 4's release? This is a question for Mr. Adam Jackson in Irvine. If you could help us with that answer.
It's not a PvP game, so who the fuck cares?
Let me
I don't
think.
want it to be a PvP game. Like,
It's a deep
PvP's there,
question,
but it's
I think
fucking boring.
okay. So, I guess we'll start with, because there's like a long history of balance, right? I think there's actually a very good story, and we could start even before launch and going into launch and how we thought about things. But I think we'll start with like season 1 and the transition from kind of the launch version of the game into our first season, right? Obviously, when we launched the game, we had some pretty benign ideals, I think, of, hey, we want all the classes to be within a certain power range of each other, and everything should be viable for everyone.
I don't think that's
basically everything feels
fucking
good, and there's a lot of different ways to play, right?
a good philosophy.
And then one
Like,
of
who
the issues
cares?
that we ran into this season 1 that I think
Let
is interesting to talk about is
each character
we
excel in
realized
whatever
that
way
in,
it can
in our
excel.
quest to make items and item stats really fun and powerful and interesting,
Each
we had
class,
over
whatever.
budgeted on quite a few of them. And I think just in the interest of time, I'll pick on cooldown reduction. It's a very scary stat to me and the team. So, we realized in the launch version game, the cooldown reduction was too high, right? And so players are basically able to solve cooldown reduction, I'm using that with air quotes, and get to a point where they had very low, if any, cooldowns on a lot of their skills. And this was true for many stats, not just cooldown reduction. But
Which
one of
is
the
great.
problems that we knew was going to come up that was a
That's fucking great.
kind of future us
Let it
problem,
happen.
but really almost immediately us problem, is that if we let players solve these things, whether it's defensive stats, cooldown reduction, resource, whatever it may be, then and we let them solve it only in gear, then we're going to get to a state where we can't give exciting things to you
That's a good
anymore
point.
that you're going to be really happy about and that will feel impactful because you just
Yeah,
got
that's
it
a good
all in
point.
gear, right? And
It
while gear
shouldn't
does need to be
nothing
cool and
should
interesting,
only come from
if you
gear.
completely solve these things,
Unless
I can't
it's
give
some
you a
kind of
legendary power,
amazing,
or I can't
unique
give you
aspect.
something late game that really buffs and changes your build in a meaningful way if you got it from
Or even
just
like
one source.
super increased
And so then we launched
affixes.
season 1, and we're like, okay,
That's
we're going to
fine,
kind of eat
but
our
there has to
vegetables
be other
here,
ways to
and
get
we're
it
going to
to.
preserve the long-term health of the game, but we're going to do these very necessary nerfs, and there are quite a few, right? And even at the time we did this, we knew, we tried to mix in a bunch of buffs and, try and make it feel good, but we just didn't hit the mark, right? We kind of failed in that endeavor. We did, do the necessary things to bring the game in a long-term healthy state, but it came at the cost of player fun and player sentiment. And so you went from the beginning preseason to season 1, and the game overall just got quite a bit less fun because you were just less powerful and you weren't compensated enough from the player point of view. And so we kind of learned a lesson there of like we need to be a
Season
little
1
bit
was
more
still
thoughtful
fun.
and careful of when we roll out these things and how we roll them out, and then also how we communicate it, right? Because we didn't really
I had fun playing
tell
my
people
rogue.
the intricacies of these problems. We just came out with a patch and
With the
let you
barber.
figure it out, and that didn't go too well, right? So then in season 2 came around, and we did a big combat math update to the game. We were kind of a little worried because we had to kind of thread this needle of we also were nerfing player power because we changed a lot of multiplicative synergies to be additive, but we wanted to do it in a way where you felt more powerful and it felt more fun and fair. So we had to do a lot of more work on the monster side and balance monsters to the new expected player power when vulnerable is not always multiplicative and all these other crazy things going on. And I think we threaded that needle really well. A little bit to my
I
surprise.
mean, I still
I'll be
feel
honest, I was a
powerful
little
and
scared
have
going
the
into
whole
it 'cause
season.
it's such a big update,
Both
right?
both
And
classes
then we
that
also
I played
decided
felt
during
powerful.
season 2 when it came
There's
to balance
definitely a
that
cap
instead of trying
that
to
I hit.
nerf and whack-a-mole things that are really strong,
like
and
when it comes to
immediately take them away,
Abattoir,
'cause it's
I
not
hit the
supposed to be
cap
that way, we
with
just kind of let it
Druid
ride.
for sure.
And so that's why you saw things like Ball Lightning, Hoda Bar,
I feel like I can
the
do
Druid,
right
Poison
now.
Druid, Rogue combo.
I
like,
feel like I can
many
do,
classes had just something that was kind of crazy, and we just let it go.
As long as I play
But
smart, I
even
feel like
now,
I can do
towards
at least a
the end of
4
season 2,
Abattoir.
we're seeing that some people
Maybe
are
a
starting
5.
to
I
be a
don't
little
know.
upset, like, hey, these same builds are just killing
One
everything.
was
If I
like
want to do
fucking
the really
super
hard
easy.
content, I have to be one of these things
And
because
not
that's the
super
only
easy.
thing that works.
It wasn't that
And
challenging.
obviously, we don't want that to be the future of the game forever. And so now we're trying to come up
I
with a
think
more
we do some
balanced
twos
approach
tonight.
of how we see these things. And that's why, again, I was saying kind of in my presentation, we're thinking a lot of, how often do we update
We'll do
actually
these
really matters,
Ubers.
I think, from
We'll
your
do
point of view
a
as a
round of
player,
whispers to see if we
because
can
that
get an extra
determines how long
version.
you are safe to do something that
Then we'll
feels
do
crazy
the
and also
Uber
powerful.
bosses.
But then also
And then we'll
how
try
we update the
some
game matters as well. Of like, hey, are
some
we
tier
okay
2
with
abattoirs.
one or two things being really strong for a while, or what is the range that something can be too strong before we consider it a problem? That's another subject that maybe I like to go into in the future, or more in depth in the future. But I think that kind of answers the question. It's already a little long-winded, so I'll leave it there.
All good. No, I appreciate it, Adam. And so we're going to go through some additional questions. I might be going back to Adam, but I know one question that we at least have gotten regarding Season 3 is, this is from Ice Vixen. I'm attempting. What about group play in vaults? How does that specifically work? Because obviously there's like the warding buff and everything. How do rewards kind of associate with that?
Right, so you are able to group up and play through a vault. And yeah, it behaves pretty much like any other Nightmare dungeon. And so, there are instances where if you leave the dungeon, you will lose the buff. So we're trying to avoid some cases where players might try to cheat their way to the end.
Yeah.
But overall, we're trying to be as supportive as possible for group play.
Awesome. Makes sense. And then I know this is a question back for Adam. A popular question regarding minion builds and plans for minion builds. I know this one has been brought up in chat quite often. What are the plans for like maybe Necromancer or Druid minion build specifically?
Yeah. I definitely don't get asked this all the time. So let me think.
I mean, I enjoyed playing with wolves.
So we know the feedback that people want
Just
minion
having
builds
them
to be kind of more impactful,
to soak up
these
some
are now
aggro
kind of going into my opinion,
was
but I think
enough.
a lot of that
Like,
feedback comes from a combination of they
you're
don't
gonna put
feel,
all of your power into the
necessarily
fucking
maybe as
wolves?
powerful
No.
as other
Why?
builds,
Why?
which we can and we do. And if you've
How's
noticed in
that
our
fun?
past patches, we've consistently
You
hit
just
a
sit
number
there
buffing
and watch your
builds.
minions do everything?
And even this patch does have some number
Fucking, I
buffs
don't
in
know,
that
man.
realm. But I think
I don't
a
see the
more
joy in
hard,
that, so
more
I
complicated, difficult problem to solve is
don't
kind
know.
of the relationship between the player and the minion, and making the minions.
How many
feel
people are really
cool and
that sad
awesome, and
about
your
minion
investment
builds right
into
now?
them really pay off in a way that is kind of more
And
visceral.
why? There
That is
has
a
to be
harder
more
problem to
variation
solve
in
that
Necromancer than just yeah, they're there.
It's in my mind, and I'm
But
not
there's
promising
got to be
anything,
more
but
variation
these are
in
things like rethinking of
Necromancer
how the Book of the Dead
builds
upgrades
that
work,
are
and
fun.
that relationship between sacrificing and minion upgrades.
I don't know.
And really trying to make them do more visually, I think, cool and awesome things, and maybe more reacting to you, and so you feel like they're doing a lot more on their own a little bit. That's kind of the direction that we think. We don't have anything to announce right now as far as that. And Druid Companions, I think, are kind of in a similar vein, even though they don't have quite the same support in fantasy that Necromancer does, because they don't have a Book of the Dead, for example. But I think players really just want this visceral feeling, like I've got my gain with me, and we're all going and messing with stuff. So we're doing number buffs
I guess
now.
there's that, but
It is a thing that we are looking at.
I want to be
don't
the
have any
leader of the
promises
gang,
when,
man, and
because,
get in
again,
there
this is something
and
that I
fuck
think
shit
is
up
a little
too,
more difficult to
not just
tackle.
watch
We have
them do
other
it all.
things that we're tackling that are a little more difficult coming in the near
I
future.
may
But it is something that we know of and that will definitely be coming. I just don't know when.
a battle.
Awesome, I appreciate it. A question
battle
related to
worthy and
Uber
battle torn
uniques on
king.
Uber vaults.
That's
Is
what I
that
am.
something that
Not a
players can
fucking
find there, or like what can they find in that?
piece of shit
so
bitch
Uber uniques are still
general
the
that sits at
domain
the top of the
Duriel
mountain in the
at this
background
point.
and
That's
it's like,
gonna
oh
be
yeah,
your
you
best
go,
shot for getting
go
Uber
fight.
uniques. But
Shoot
we still
that
wanted to
catapult.
make the Uber Vault rewarding.
Drop that bomb.
And so
No.
for the Seneschal construct, we've
I'm gonna blow
actually
shit up
created
myself.
several unique tuning stones, which really we haven't given away too much information about. But defeating Uber Malphus is going to be the only way to earn those.
Awesome. Yeah. So players will be able to get really, really powerful, unique tuning stones specifically from those. And
So that's
I will
tuning
spoil it a
stones,
little
not
bit. We
governing
did
stones.
technically have PC Gamer did a good interview
okay.
with Sean, and I know it
PC
was kind of
Gamer,
like
huh?
revealed specifically in one of the shots there. So if people want like a sneak peek of what one does, there is an opportunity to actually check it out there. So people can actually see it there. Another question back for Adam. This is another big question within chat. Oh, by the way, Beefcake Monster asked that last question. I forgot names, but this one is actually asked by a lot of people, so just many names specifically.
Sure.
Snapshotting.
not even on
Snapshotting
their
is
front
something
page.
that
The hell,
kind of
man?
appeared, especially as players were going through like Abattoir of Zir. Do we have any
What you
plans
doing,
regarding
bro?
snapshotting, what we might do for that?
Yeah, we do have things coming. I don't have anything to announce today. It won't be at the beginning of season 3, but we
That
do
article's
have
not even
releases
on the
coming
front
for
page.
Snapshotting. We're aware of the problem. It came on a little hot at the end
It's
of
not
season
out
2,
yet?
but yeah, we've talked about it. We've seen it. We kind of know the intricacies of it, and we'll be taking a look at it in the near
Awesome.
future.
Awesome, I appreciate it. A question that I've also seen a few times in chat about Zoltan Cool, funny enough, do we like encounter Zoltan Cool in this?
Do not encounter him. He is still dead. No digging up his head this time.
That's
But you
sad.
will hear his voice. We have several lore books that drop throughout the vaults, and generally his presence, and Ayujan speaks of him quite often.
Of course, we have to hear Zoltan Cool and his wonderful voice
Yes.
of talking down to everyone. So that makes perfect sense. I know a question regarding the vault specifically. Is that an area that players can actually maybe potentially level up Paragon glyphs, or is that still something that is tied to Nightmare Dungeons?
So the Nightmare versions of Vault should work the same way as Nightmare Dungeons in that respect. And
Awesome.
you should be able to level up your glyphs there too.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that a lot of people were hearing about the Nightmare Vaults and they're going
That's
like,
good.
well, does that
We like
serve
that.
also the same? Like, can I do almost like get both objectives in one type of thing, which you now can? And that was from Galley055 who asked that question specifically. And then I know a question we have from UN Tanks Up. Bad. Terrible, Adam. How many times can we do the gauntlet in a week?
So we have not restricted players' access
That's
to the
good.
Gauntlet. I think it's the type of content we want people to try and master. And in order to be able to do that, you've got to be able to practice and you've got to be able to improve. And
Then
so
there shouldn't be a,
really you can play it as much or
There
as
shouldn't
little as
be
you
a
want.
resource required to do
Which
it
is
either.
a
Then you
change
just do
again
it, right?
from something like a Nightmare Dungeon where you need a sigil. The only requirement right now is that you are World Tier 4 and that you think you're ready.
Yeah. So again, you can jump into these specifically before gauntlets, specifically before hitting level 100. It's usually preferred to go in at level 100, but you can try tackling it a little bit earlier if you want, and you can do it as many times as you want, which is really cool. So it's like I'm
Why?
excited to
Why
see
do you
how
keep
players
doing this, man?
optimize. Because of course they change every single week and they get to kind of like learn and they get to kind of maybe modify based on how many people are within their party, which is really, really cool. A question that we also have been getting regarding some of the I lost my question now. I'm so bad at this. The itemization updates that we have talked about in the past. A lot of people are asking like, hey, is that still on track for season 4? This one was specifically from Fermel. Yes, that is still on track for season 4. We have a really massive itemization update coming specifically for that season. And we'll have more news to share as we get closer to season 4. But for right now, we don't have news to share with the community for season 3 regarding that. But it will be pretty significant, and we'll be talking about that more in a future stream here coming down the line. And then let's see, any updates regarding like some of the group finders or social features? I know that is also another big question that a lot of players have been asking over the last couple months, specifically about, hey, are we making any changes and everything towards that? And really, this is something that we addressed at BlizzCon as well. I think Tiffany answered this one, where it is something that we're looking into, and the team is obviously seeing the feedback, and it's something that we're planning on working and making better as, through the lifetime of Diablo 4. So players can expect to see better and more optimizations towards the social features and the friend finder specifically from that end. Let's see. Do we get more sources of Uber uniques? for this specific season, really the best way of grabbing Uber Uniques is through the boss ladder for sure, through Uber Duriel. And there are more, you can of course find Uber Uniques anytime throughout the game. It's just there are higher chances through Uber Duriel, and that is still the same specifically for this season. And then of course now more opportunities to go into that fight now, since we've like amped up a lot of the drops specifically around like Living Steel from Season 2 to the Beast and Ice summoning items now with Season 3. So players will actually be able to kind of jump into Uber Duriel specifically from that end. Let's see. I know we get a lot of questions about Field of View from players asking like, hey, is there any update of like, are you guys planning on actually increasing the Field of View? Right now we don't have any plans towards that. It's just something that, you know, we've been hearing a lot from players. There's a lot of work that of course has to go into something like that. But you know, whenever we do have an update, we'll make sure to actually provide that specifically on that end.
Interesting.
Codex updates is another big thing because people have been asking about, you know, the Codex updates.
Come on, man.
I'm just like kind of shotgunning. I'm seeing like words appear in chat. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. That is something that we talked about before, and that work is currently underway, and that will also be part of a future season. And it is a massive update. It's something that we had talked about beforehand on previous streams, which was kind of helping out with inventory, making sure those specific aspects were like pulled out of inventory and kind of stored within
That'd be nice.
the character or cataloged within
You should be able to
we
like,
will have more
save
info on
the
that actually
highest,
ends up hitting soon. But there's a ton
the
of things
best
that are coming
version of
to,
that aspect that you've
D4
acquired,
to help
and then
address
reuse
a lot
it.
of some of this
That
community
would be
feedback
fucking
specifically
great.
on that end.
Or
And then, question
use the
regarding
ones that you
Gauntlet.
get to
This
increase
is
the one that you
from,
found.
RM
That would be
Dragonheart.
perfect.
Will you be able
That's
to
another
inspect the
grind
top
that would
players in
be
Gauntlet and see what builds
that
they're
would be
potentially
enjoyable.
using?
That would be an
So you
enjoyable
will
grind
be
instead of
able
it just
to
being
inspect the top players from
straight
Gauntlet. There'll be
RNG
a
on what you
link
get.
from the leaderboard to a player's
Power
profile.
wise. You have the
and
ability
you'll be
to.
able to see what they're playing currently.
You have the
but we
ability
do
to
not save a
power up the ones that you
snapshot
have
right now
by
of what
finding
they
more of
played
them.
at that moment.
Got it. Awesome. So yeah,
Same
if you
thing
wanna
with
see
affixes
kind of
on
like,
gear. You should do the same thing
top
there.
builds and stuff like that. You have the opportunity to, but it does. If they
Then you're
happen to
not
change their
relying
build overnight or
100%
something
on
like that,
just
it's gonna
fucking
grab whatever
RNG,
that
completely
existing build is
RNG.
specifically from that end. And then I know we've gotten, or this was a question from Max, not TV, regarding Malthus. Do we have any plans of Malthus becoming maybe potentially an endgame boss outside of the season? Or are we planning on maybe, you know, introducing it in like a boss ladder in the future?
Right. So every season, you know, much as Adam described for Power, you know, we take a look at those elements that we really liked from a previous season to see if we can bring them forward. Certainly people on the team like fighting Malthus. Hopefully y'all enjoy fighting Malthus too. If you like fighting him enough, then perhaps in the future, yeah, we could bring him over to the boss ladder.
Yeah,
But
just like Farshawn.
yeah, but we're no commitments to that quite now.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I know we went through some questions here, and we're a little over beyond. We were aiming for 90 minutes. We're a little beyond. It's totally fine though. Really appreciate. Yeah, a lot of stuff in season 3. Really appreciate everyone providing questions. And if you have additional questions, of course, make sure to ask them over social media, Reddit, forums. We're always checking those out, and of course, we'll try to address them in either future streams or immediately if we can after the
I want to
stream.
know if you
Again,
can use the
patch
same
notes for
tuning
season
stone on
3
both of your
and
governing
the
stones.
new 1.3 patch are going to be hitting tomorrow, so make sure to check Diablo4.com specifically for those patch notes. It's a big one. Always a big patch notes when you start off a new season specifically. And you know, we have a lot of other activities that are going on within the Diablo universe. Diablo 3 started their new season just a couple weeks ago. D2, repping D2 today. There we go, D2R. D2, I know we've gotten a lot of questions about when the next ladder will be. We'll have more news on that in February. We don't expect a ladder reset to happen until February, but we'll give you a specific date as we get closer to February. Of course, DI has a ton of new updates as well. They had a big update before the holiday regarding familiars being added to the game, and they've been expanding on that. So there's a ton of stuff coming to the Diablo universe. D4, even earlier this month, we talked about how we will have ray tracing and a lot of those features coming into Diablo 4 here really soon. Players should expect to see that within a future update really soon. So I'm super excited for those items. But lots of stuff within the Diablo universe, and of course, Season 3 hitting on January 23rd. I just want to thank Madeline, Dan, Adam Jackson from Irvine. I'm looking forward to flying back and saying hi again, Adam. But I want to thank you guys for of course, joining us on this special developer update live stream for Season 3. And just a heads up for people that are watching, our friends at Xbox are actually doing an Xbox Developer Direct that's going to be starting here really soon. So make sure to check that out on the Xbox channel on Twitch and on YouTube. And of course, we'll be raiding into some of our wonderful Diablo partners on YouTube and Twitch. So make sure to tune into them immediately after the stream. But thank you guys again for tuning in for the developer update for Season the Construct, which is launching on January 23rd. Patch notes tomorrow on Diablo4.com. And yeah, thank you guys from Albany. Really appreciate it.
See you guys in game.
Have a good one.
All right, so what are we gonna send to this guy? We're gonna send thank you for a wonderfully informative stream today. I'm super excited. Oh, kissy face. Oh, we don't really care about Dragonflight. All right, so let's switch to this. I'm going to formulate this tweet real quick, and then I'm going to use the toilet, and we'll get into this gameplay. Pez Radar at Diablo, thank you for the wonderfully informative stream today. I'm super excited for S3. One question, though. Can you use the same tuning stone on both governing stones? Why is it on there twice? No. Oh, fuck off, man. You like what? I'm literally selected where I'm trying to delete, and it's skipping to the you fucking piece of shit. Oh my fucking god. What is going on here? What in the actual fuck is going on here? That is not where my fucking cursor is. I swear to God. I can't even delete this? Like, are you fucking serious? I can't even select it or delete it. Oh my God. What is going on here? see if we get a response. So we're asking, can you use the same tuning stone on both governing stones you have equipped and essentially stack their bonuses, or is only one of each tuning stone allowed? See what they say. We'll see what they say if they even respond. But all right, I mean, that was informative. That was good. I'm looking forward to season 3 starting on Tuesday. It's going to be fucking great. We are going to get into some gameplay here in a little bit, but I will be back. I'm going to use the toilet, talk to my people for a minute, and I'll be right back.